You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
NFL fans, welcome to the 2021 NFL Mock Draft here on the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and you know that I don't do this alone. There's no way I could do this alone. I need the help of the draft dynamo himself, the one, the only, Nick Ohrnberger. Nick, how are you, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going? Been a while since we've talked in this vernacular, so it's good to be back on your show. How's everything?
Everything's great, thanks. Firstly, let me just welcome you to the club of losing to Tom Brady multiple times. I feel your pain.
Yeah. You know what, look, I'll tell you what. When you win one, it makes the next one that you lose a lot easier. So that's what I'll say. That's all I'll say. Having said that, I've never seen a game where the refs played so well. I mean, they were really on it. Yeah, they did a great job affecting that game.
Yeah, hey, I mean, who said that women can't play football, right? Sarah Thomas, she held her own.
Oh, man. But all good.
Here's how we're going to do this. Nick is going to make the first overall pick. He will be filling in as Urban Meyer. I will make the New York Jets pick. Nick is going to go to the Niners. I'm going to go to the Falcons, etc., etc. This is going to be who we would pick, not who we think they're going to pick. If Nick is the only person on earth that thinks that Trevor Lawrence is going to go the way of Blake Bortles, he'll take someone else. If I think that James Morgan should start week 1, I'm going to pick someone who's not a quarterback. We're also not going to do any trades. I've seen a lot of mock drafts with trades this year, and quite honestly, I don't like it. That's a crapshoot. I don't like when people do that. I don't know how you feel about it. I just don't like it.
I just don't think it's reliable. I think you're setting yourself up to kind of fail because no one can predict that sort of thing. If it happens, okay, our draft is bogus. But you know what? This is one of those years I really think it's going to be a little more stable once the draft starts.
I agree. I think once you get past the top 3, the draft really starts at 3. If the Niners go the route that everyone says they're going to go, you're not going to see a lot of trades. But then if the Niners throw a curveball at 3, then maybe you'll see trades. But again, I don't think they're going to do that. So let's not waste any time. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been on the clock since they lost their last 15 games of the 2020 season. How is Urban Meyer going to build out his franchise?
Well, you've already seen the reports that Trevor Lawrence is already donating to different charities down there and such, and like doing a lot of community work. Look, this has been decided. The pick's in. Everybody knows it. It's just going to be a formality. He's got all the physical tools. It's a simple, easy pick. Trevor Lawrence is your number one man for the first pick in the 2021 draft.
Boo. Boo. I wanted him on the Jets. No, look, Trevor Lawrence is the right guy. He has everything you look for in a franchise quarterback. You have to look really hard to find any holes in his game. People are going to throw out the bowl game against OSU. Lawrence wasn't even bad in that game. Justin Fields just had the game of his life. So, yeah, you're 100% right. Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first overall pick. And now we get to the JETS, just endure the suffering. I can't say just end the suffering because the suffering will never end. We are going to suffer as Jets fans, but the Jets can go a long way towards ending it, in all fairness, by getting the quarterback position right. They've taken a lot of swings at it recently. Mark Sanchez didn't work. Geno Smith didn't work. Christian Hackenberg didn't work. Sam Darnold didn't work. This guy will work. It is Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback. This has been rumored for a while, had a fantastic year at BYU. You watch his bowl game, the entire college football world watching. He puts up 5 touchdowns in the Boca Raton Bowl against UCF, can throw on the run, very accurate, seems like he has the mentality to handle New York. I love his arm strength. He has a quick release. I understand he's a one-year wonder. Okay? I get that. So is Joe Burrow. So is Kyler Murray. So is Baker Mayfield. That doesn't scare me. The BYU thing does scare me a little bit, but Jim McMahon and Steve Young would have something to say about that. Nick, I truly believe that Zach Wilson is going to save the New York Jets.
You know what? The more you were talking, I think we lightly discussed him and the issue of Fields or Wilson. Look, I tend to agree. I'm after reviewing him more and seeing what this kid's capable of, I could really see this being a home run for the Jets. Now, keep in mind, we've said that a lot. And we say it, I feel like every draft we say it about a quarterback here or there. He's got all physical gifts. He just needs a chance. I think you're right. Zach Wilson goes 2, and it leaves the 49ers in a very interesting predicament.
Yes, it does. Let me just say one quick thing about Fields, okay? There were a lot of people saying that Wilson's a lot better than Fields, or Fields is a lot better than Wilson. No, I actually disagree with that. I think the gap between Wilson and Fields is razor thin. Like, if the Jets take Fields, I'm okay with it. It wasn't until the Boca Raton Bowl that I really started paying a lot of attention to Wilson. If the Jets take Fields, okay, he's going to work out. If the Jets take Wilson, fantastic, he's going to work out. It's not that you take a guy like Trey Lance or Matt Jones or Kellen Moore. That's when things are going to go a little haywire. I'm one of the few people who likes them both. I don't know how you feel about it, but I like Wilson and Fields.
You're right, razor thin. I mean, we're just talking about a matter of one has a little more mobility than the other. That's really just about it.
Right, exactly. So now the San Francisco 49ers are on the clock. They moved up from 12-3 ostensibly to take a quarterback. The Jimmy Garoppolo experiment seems to be winding down, but Nick, the floor is yours. What are the Niners doing?
I have flip-flopped on this back and forth. Look, I get that they have more needs than just quarterback, and I do believe Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start again, and he's going to be pretty good. We've seen the flashes of greatness. Obviously, their Super Bowl run year was incredible, but he's never really made the full step. I think that's fair to say, and it's not like he hasn't had help. He has plenty of help on that offense for a few years now.
Right.
I've been flip-flopping, man. I so badly want to address another major need and go and get them Micah Parsons here, but I can't. You don't trade up to 3 to take a linebacker. You just don't do it. They're at 3 because they need to take the best remaining quarterback, their quarterback for the future. Justin Fields is off the board at 3.
I like it. Justin Fields is by far and away the third best quarterback in this draft. The gap between Wilson and Fields is small. The gap between Fields and Lance is huge. I mean, I see people putting Lance at 3. I see people putting Mac Jones at 3. Nick, I'll ask you the same question that I asked you last year about Jordan Love. What are they smoking, and where can I get some?
I have no idea. I don't know what's in the water over there, or I really have. I don't have anything to tell you. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh man! I mean, look, the knock on Fields. Okay, look, I understand the knock on Fields. He does not play well in big games, and that's true. You can't deny that. The guy was terrible against Alabama. The Big Ten title game against Northwestern, he was terrible. But you look at the film against, just the other Big Ten opponents, it jumps off the tape. It just does. I mean, I really think that Justin Fields is going to work out. I have a friend, his name is Jim. He loves Justin Fields. So he'll be very happy to hear that Fields goes 3. We move on now to the Atlanta Falcons. Do the Falcons go quarterback? We've heard that rumor. This will be the first draft in NFL history that quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to happen. You have Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was not the issue with the Falcons last year. The issue with the Falcons was the terrible coach in Dan Quinn. It seems to have gotten it right in Arthur Smith. I like Smith. Wouldn't have minded him on the Jets. I think he has a really good head on his shoulders. Did some really good things for the Titans. And the number one need for the Falcons is actually cornerback. Not quarterback. Cornerback. But Patrick Surtain is not a top 5 prospect. I'm sorry, he's not. I love Surtain. We want him on the Jets in a heartbeat. But no, it can't happen. They have another hole. A hole at tight end. All right? Tony Gonzalez isn't walking through that door anytime soon. This guy is a freak. This guy could be the second best prospect in this draft. He is a wide receiver in a tight end body. I don't care that he can't block. I don't care that he has some injury concerns. Kyle Pitts is the pick here. Did fantastic things at Florida. Great separation skills. Great ball skills. Plays with a fire under his ass. Kyle Pitts has to be the guy, and Matt Ryan will be doing backflips over it.
Yeah, look, for me, this was a no-brainer. So far, I think our draft boards are similar. But this kid is an absolute freak, and with that receiving staff, this is it. No more excuses for Matt Ryan after this, because he now has. Forget about one of the best, the best prospect you've seen lately. This is one of the best prospects we've ever seen. That's how good this kid can be. He's huge. He is physical. He's fast. He's got great hands, and he's going to be great for them for a long time.
Think about this pass-catching core for a minute.
Oh, man.
Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, and Kyle Pitts.
Oh, my gosh. He's going to have a field day.
Yes, he is. So we move on now to the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, they had the first overall pick last year. They used it on Joe Burrow. Burrow was on his way to doing really good things in his rookie season, but he got hurt. Don't worry, Bengals fans. He's the real deal. You'll be fine. What are the Bengals doing at 5?
I really do think this is where we diverge. And this is going to be a surprise. To me, the Bengals have a lot of needs, but their two biggest needs are obviously the blaring hole at offensive tackle and just an honest hole at skill positions in general. I think the right thing to do here, and you know me, I love taking offensive linemen high. I really do. And I think that Soul kid deserves it. But I think the best thing for the Bengals and the best thing for Joe Burrow is to get him a running buddy who he can toss the ball to and just make problems downfield. Jamar Chase goes number 5.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I actually think that the Bengals' biggest need is at wide receiver. Yeah, look, I love Jamar Chase. Obviously, the LSU connection is real. Jack of all trades, master of all. Maybe you want him to be a little taller, but, you know, he's 6 foot. It's not like he's a Lilliputian or something. Jamar Chase is going to be a great wide receiver for the Bengals. Here's the only thing I'll say. Devonta Smith? You're passing on Devonta Smith for Jamar Chase. Explain yourself.
I listen. Like you said, with the difference between Fields and Wilson, I believe that the split between those guys is razor thin. I really think either one of them, it really doesn't matter. They're both going to be great. I don't know why I like Jamar Chase a little bit more. I think I don't know. I just you know how that is. You have a feeling about a guy. I just think Jamar Chase is the right fit for these guys. I like his size, and I think he's going to be great for a long time.
That's perfectly fine. Look, I like Chase too, and the LSU connection. All right, I believe in giving young quarterbacks players who they played with in college. That makes sense. I don't mind the pick. I don't mind it at all. In fact, I think it's a really, really good pick. Speaking of Devonta Smith, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock at 6. Obviously, they had the 3rd overall pick, but they traded down to 12, moved back up to 6. Nick is really excited about this pick, evidently. Look, in case you couldn't tell where I'm going, it's Devonta Smith. I absolutely love Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is the best wide receiver in this draft. You're right that the gap between Smith and Chase is small. It is there, though. And I really think that Devonta Smith is the better player. I don't mind Chase. I really don't. But Devonta Smith did fantastic things at Alabama. We all know he won the Heisman, dominated every game. People are getting on him for his frame. He's 170 pounds. I mean, my God, you want him to be like me? You want him to be, some schlub who can't get upstairs? No, I'm only kidding. I'm not that bad. But, look, Devonta Smith leaps off the tape every time you watch him play. Tua Tagovailoa reunited with Devonta Smith. That sounds pretty good to me. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, look, they're addressing a humongous issue with this. And like you just said, it came down to me for size and the reps, that LSU connection between quarterback and receiver. However, another huge need here is offensive tackle. Between Fitzmagic and Tua Tagovailoa, that is one of the highest sacked teams. So you could have easily gone with Sewell. But I think you made the right pick here. Get a running buddy for Tagovailoa for years to come.
So we move on now to the Detroit Lions. They moved on from Matthew Stafford. They got Jared Goff and 2 first-rounders to boot. Matthew Stafford, for whatever it's worth, is not exponentially better than Jared Goff. He is better, but it's not the kind of gap that you give up 2 firsts for. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. Not great, but good. Who's he playing with?
Here's the thing. I think from after Smith and Chase, the drop-off is there at receiver. And
I agree.
As badly as the Lions need a receiver, as badly as they need cornerbacks, as a matter of fact, what they really need is to protect this quarterback, go out and get the best offensive tackle in the draft, go out and get Soul here. That's where we're going right now.
Okay, I don't mind. Penny Sewell is the best.
Is it Sewell or Soul?
I've been pronouncing it Sewell. That's because there was a baseball player about 100 years ago by the name of Joe Sewell. I highly doubt there's a relationship, but I've been pronouncing it Sewell. I could be wrong. Don't take my word for it. Come on, I speak with a Long Island accent. I mean,
oh, you do? I never noticed.
Water. W-A-T-A-H. Water. Penny Sewell is probably the perfect offensive line prospect, maybe the best offensive lineman we've had in the draft since maybe Jake Long. You need to go back that far. Fantastic in pass protection, fantastic in run blocking, really tough player. He's a mauler. I want him backing me up in a bar fight. Nick, I like the pick. I really, really do.
Right.
So we move on now to the stupidest team in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers. Somehow, some way, Joe Douglas convinced them to take Sam Darnold off his hands, a second, a fourth, and a sixth. Oh, happy day. If Kyle Pitts was here, he would be the slam dunk pick. They really, really need a tight end. Ian Thomas has not worked. I'm tempted to go quarterback just because I despise Sam Darnold with a burning passion, and I wish him nothing but the worst with the Panthers. I want him to bust. A lot of Jets fans want him to do well. I don't. I want Sam Darnold to bust. All right? I said it once. I'll say it again. I thought about taking Elijah Barrett Tucker, but it's too early for him. He's not a top 10 prospect. This guy is, though, the best corner in this draft is Patrick Surtain II. Plays a lot like his father, Nick, let me tell you.
He looks a lot like him, too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Very tall, very long.
It's so weird when you get that second generation. You see that, like we're seeing it right now with Tatis Jr. and some of these guys in the major leagues, how much they look like their fathers. It's crazy.
Asante Samuel Jr. He looks like his father.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look, no, I don't think this was a no-brainer. I think this took probably a little flip-flopping as you were deciding. But all in all, I think this is the right pick for them. You could have gone Slater here. They definitely have a need at tackle. But I think you made shoring up that cornerback core with a guy who's a 10-year guy, which is what he's going to be, was the most important thing here. So well done, my friend.
Thank you. And once again, Sam Darnold, I wish you nothing but the worst. Oh, can't wait to beat him next year. The Jets actually played the Panthers. That's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
We move on now to the Denver Broncos. This is a very interesting pick for two reasons. Number one, they desperately need a quarterback. I'm not sold on Drew Lock. And number two, the possibility that Nick is going to sabotage it because he hates the Broncos. What are you doing, buddy?
Well, look, just because I hate the Broncos doesn't mean I'm not going to do the right thing as a draft person. So, no, I have to address needs here. Look, the drop-off is tremendous with this quarterback crew after Fields and after Wilson and after Lawrence. And I don't think you spend a top 10 pick on a guy you're just guessing with. I'm not saying these guys can't turn into something. We've seen it before. Hell, Patrick Mahomes. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Boy, man, this one's tough. But I think all in all things said, I think you go for another blaring need. You just took the best cornerback in the draft, and it don't necessarily – there's not as big a drop-off as there is in quarterbacks, but there's still a drop-off there. This is where he goes from the we are Penn State, Micah Parsons off the board right here.
Okay. All right. I don't mind it. I think he fits with the Broncos mold of having fantastic defensive players. I mean, Von Miller, Malik Jackson, Aqib Talib, et cetera, et cetera. I love Micah Parsons, love watching him play. I'm not crazy about how he does in one-on-one battles. It's weird. He's a good tackler, but one-on-one in the open field, I'm not crazy about him. But other than that, I think he's a great prospect. So we move on now to the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is rumored to be enamored with Kyle Pitts, but he's off the board. I need to keep checking myself. Kyle Pitts or Kyle Trask? Who am I talking about? Of course, they had to go to the same school. Look, they really need a defensive tackle. There's no defensive tackle worth taking at 10. I'm going to give them a cornerback. I'm going to give them a guy who's going to be a shutdown, lockdown guy, someone who they missed with Byron Jones going to the Dolphins. I'm going to go with Caleb Farley. I understand that he opted out last year. Okay, that is, I don't want to say a red flag. That's too harsh, but it is cause for concern. I think he has a great frame, about 6'2", about 200 pounds, fantastic cover skills, fantastic ball skills, not a good tackler. We had this discussion last year. I don't want my corners to be good tacklers, okay? It means nothing to me. Darrelle Revis was not a good tackler. He's a future Hall of Famer. Caleb Farley is the guy at 10. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think this is a smart pick. For me, I've been flip-flopping over either Farley or Surtain Jr. Surtain the second, who really is the best, because one of them we haven't seen play in a while. So, yeah, man, I just think the body of work's there, and I think this kid is. I mean, you want to talk about absolutely gifted. This kid is going to be amazing. Again, another guy who's going to spend a decade in the NFL. Frustrating receivers. So this is a great pick right here. It's a great. It's just a great addition to a Cowboy defense that needs it.
Oh my God, they were stiff last year. That was tough to watch.
Just let them get run all over.
So speaking of the NFC East, the New York Giants are on the clock. Every Giants fan listening is glad that I'm not making this pick. I hate the Giants, man. Oh, my God. What do they do?
Well, where do you start? I mean, I don't know where to start. And honestly, that's kind of the pickle I find myself in. I want to go best available player, but they have needs. They have legitimate needs they need to address, and they need to address quickly. Yeah, man, this one was tough for me. Again, another one that I have been flip-flopping over. Do I go corner here? Do I get them an edge rusher? It's certainly within their mold to continue just having great edge rushers. I'll be honest with you. I think that's exactly what they do here. I know it's early, and I know it's only for position of need. I'm going early with this guy. I'm going Kwity Paye from Michigan. Is going off the board right here.
I don't mind it. I don't think that's an egregious reach. I have him a little closer to 20, but you're in the ballpark with him as being a mid-first round talent. Kwity Paye was by far and away the best player at Michigan last year. I understand bad Michigan team, but still, he looked like a man among boys. Jack of all trades, master of none. It's master of all. I take that back. He really, really does everything very, very well. The production isn't there for me. He only had 5 tackles, only had 1 sack, but he has all the physical tools you look for. I like Kwity Paye. That's a good pick.
It's not a sexy pick. This is just, it fixes a need, and it fixes it for a long time.
Yeah, there would be a lot of Giants fans confused about this pick, but then once they thought about it, they'd actually like it. And it kind of fits the mold that Dave Gettleman is in. He makes the picks that he wants, and he doesn't care what anyone else thinks.
With that thick Boston accent.
So we move on now to the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, they were involved in that crazy 3-team trade with the Niners and Dolphins. I would love to give them a quarterback here because they are, as it stands right now, starting Jalen Hurts, and Nick Sirianni didn't exactly give Hurts a ringing endorsement. But I think they're going to roll with him to start out the year. I'm not saying he's going to finish out the year, but it's possible that he works out. I'm not going to give up on him. All right. I think he's going to bust. I do. I think that was a terrible pick, but I'll give him a little more time to prove me wrong. I'll give him a weapon. This guy has dropped far enough. Jalen Waddle, the other Alabama wide receiver, the guy who I'm actually taller than. Believe it or not, I'm actually taller than Jalen Waddle. So maybe I could be a first-round prospect. How does that sound?
I would draft you, Jake. In the 7th round.
Guess which finger I'm holding up.
You will be Mr. Insignificant, the last pick in the draft.
Look, Waddle is incredibly short. There's no question about that. But the Eagles desperately need wide receivers. We all know this. They've needed it for years. There are durability concerns with being that small, but Waddle put together a really good career at Alabama, obviously a national title, great separation skills, really good big playability. He can also play on special teams. What are your thoughts on Jalen Waddle?
Look, if he was just a little bigger, he's a top 10 talent, no question about it. But for me, those concerns are there. I worry if he's not in the right system, he'll be wasted. I honestly don't think Philly's a great place for him. I think he would highly benefit going to a place like New England, even San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. No, I think sometimes you just go best available talent, and that's what's happening here with this pick.
Speaking of the San Diego/Los Angeles Chargers, they are on the clock right now. I dropped Justin Herbert in my keeper fantasy football league because I needed to add someone at a position of need. I don't remember exactly what that position was, but that was very stupid of me. What are the Chargers doing at 13?
Well, I mean, they have a great pick that just fell into their lap at a position of need, and it's interesting he's fallen this far already. You know what Herbert really needs? He needs to stand on his own 2 feet, and he needs to be able to stand up and throw and step up into the pocket. Slater comes off the board here for the San Diego Chargers. Oh, gee, good Lord, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll never get used to this.
Oh, man. You, Kellen Winslow, Phillip Rivers, and Dan Fouts. Look, Rashawn Slater, if not for the fantastic talent that is Penei Sewell, would be much more highly regarded. He's a mauler. He's a beast. He's a senior. He's a smart guy. As someone who doesn't know as much about offensive linemen as you do, even I know that this guy's going to be around in the NFL for a really, really long time. Good pick, Nick. I like the idea of keeping Justin Herbert upright.
I'll give you a little insight into that pick. My brother thinks it's going to happen, and not only that, Rich thinks he's going top 5. That's how sure he is that this guy's a top talent. He thinks 2 tackles are going in the top 5.
Does he have Sewell ahead of Slater?
He does, but he has them both going in his top 5.
Jeez. I mean,
he really believes that if there's that level of offensive alignment available, teams don't pass up on it. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We move on now to the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of a middling team. They signed Kirk Cousins. What have they done? They've hung around. They haven't embarrassed themselves, but they haven't taken that leap. Look, Kwity Paye would be the pick here if he was still available, but you took him at 11. This is where this guy goes. There are a lot of people saying that this guy could fall to the Jets at 23. I don't see it. Firstly, it's not that I don't want him, but the Jets have bigger fish to fry than interior offensive line. It is a need. It is. I'm not saying it's not. But again, bigger fish to fry. This is where Elijah Vera Tucker goes. Again, jack of all trades, master of all. Maybe you want him to be a little beefier. He's only 6'4", a shade over 300 pounds. He'll play on the interior. He'll be fine. He'll get help on double teams. Elijah Vera Tucker is the guy here. He'll help Kirk Cousins a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, like you said, a touch undersized, but you know what? I think guys like him, guys with his tenacity and his aggressiveness, almost that ferocious quality, they tend to kind of figure it out, and size doesn't wind up being an issue. I love this pick, and I don't think you're reaching much here. I think this is a great spot to pick him. I think you're hitting the nail right on the head.
Thank you. So we move on now to the New England Patriots. Nick, this sets up perfectly for them. If the draft goes this way, I'm going to be furious because I know exactly who I would take here, and the Patriots are set in the next 15 years. Go ahead. Let me know what you're going to do.
Well, look, you're assuming I'm going quarterback here.
Yes, I am. That's what I would do.
Maybe I'll toy around with this a little bit. No, look, the Patriots are in a perfect position, and the way we've done this draft so far, the quarterback hope of their future just landed back in Bill Belichick's lap. The only question is, where do you go? Which one do you take? Now, I know you're going to kill me for this. And I know, occasionally you've been hard on guys coming from smaller schools. But I think this is a no-brainer. This is a killer pick for Bill Belichick. And if anybody's going to make this kid great, it's going to be Bill. I'm going Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, heading to New England.
No, this is the perfect pick. I mean, I'll say this. As a football fan, just before I get into the Lance pick, think about the AFC East if the draft goes this way. The Bills have Josh Allen. The Dolphins have Tua. The Jets have Wilson. The Patriots have Lance. Those four AFC East teams all have franchise quarterbacks, and that's good for the NFL. That will bring some parity back to a division that desperately needs it. I understand that Trey Lance is the mystery man. Okay? I get that. Trey Lance has, without question, the lowest floor out of any quarterback in this draft. We just saw Carson Wentz, same school, have a terrible season. I understand the risk. He's also not the most accurate quarterback in the world. I understand the record for most passing attempts without an interception, but a lot of that was bad competition level. Trey Lance is a fantastic runner, really, really good arm. Seems like he has the mental makeup to be a good quarterback. Really good frame, 6'4", 225 pounds. This is a home run pick for the Patriots, and it makes me really upset as a Jets fan. So we move on now to the Arizona Cardinals. Can Cliff Kingsbury win something before we start anointing him the next Vince Lombardi? Please? Can I just say that? I mean, my God. It seems like he's working out, but cheesy Pete. You know, firstly, he got lucky against the Bills with the Hail Murray. I mean, come on. And he loses to John Wolford the last week of the season. My God. I think Kingsbury is overrated. They need a cornerback. It is just that simple. They just saw Patrick Peterson leaving free agency. The best cornerback available is J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, jack of all trades, master of none, really low ceiling. I don't see him making a lot of Pro Bowls in his career, but a very high floor. I like J.C. Horn. I think he's a safe pick. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think you're right, and this really is the part of the draft where we're deciding, is the best player available, or are we going with the best player to position? And that's a hard thing in the middle rounds of the first round, because most of these teams need to get these right. Arizona, no different. I think this is a great pick for where it is in the draft and for the desperate need on that Arizona defense to shore up their cornerback core. So I like the pick here.
Speaking of teams that need to get this right, the Las Vegas Raiders. They've had great first halves. They fizzled out in the second half. They decimated their offensive line in the offseason. What are they doing at 17?
Yeah, this one's weird. Because there's a lot to be said about this, and there's a lot of needs for the Raiders. And I keep on thinking, like, man, how long is he going to get this $100 million coach? How much leash is he going to continue to get? I really do wonder. But yeah, look, I got to go and address positions of need here. And when I think about the Raiders, I think keeping Carr upright. I think about their interior defensive line, which is deteriorating, and they need a real linebacker on this team. Those are the needs. Micah Parsons is off the board, but there's another guy. There's another guy with unbelievable ability. I don't like where he's coming out of because I'm not a huge fan of linebackers from this particular school. However, I think this is where he goes, and I think this might be the perfect place for him. I'm going to try not to butcher this. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
You got it. Nicely done. Even I know how to pronounce his name. Yeah, look, I don't like Notre Dame either. They're always overrated, even though I do have a picture of the Four Horsemen hanging up in my bedroom. But Owusu-Koramoah is a fantastic prospect. Jumps off the tape. Really, really good tackler. Can play 3 downs. Not crazy about his frame. 6'1", just a shade over 220 pounds. But I think Owusu-Koramoah is going to work out. I think this is a really, really good pick for the Raiders. So far, I feel like we're on the same wavelength in this draft. People don't realize how similarly we think. It's kind of weird.
And I think it's more fun that way, because now you know what I'm going to do probably. So we're always adjusting to each other. So I don't know about you, but my draft board's already completely different because you pick very much like me.
Yeah, exactly. I may or may not just be using the NFL.com draft board, and I didn't know what I'm draft. No, I'm only kidding. Although I will say this, in all transparency, I definitely did less work on this draft than I did last year. Part of that was the pandemic, no sports. I had nothing to do at night except watch hours and hours of YouTube videos. But I do feel like a lot of NFL fans are going into this draft kind of blind in a sense. I really haven't heard this draft talked up a lot except the quarterbacks. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know what? But that's normal. They were always going to hear all the rhetoric about the quarterbacks and this and that. But I agree with you. I feel like there's not as much hype going on for this draft as there has been in previous years. I think it's just the pandemic fatigue, and I think it's I also think that when you have that much time to yourself, you get to kind of reevaluate your values, and maybe some people are just don't care as much.
I think you're right. I think our sports calendar is kind of thrown off right now. We have the NBA. Your Knicks are looking fantastic. We have the NHL. My Islanders are looking really good. I think it's kind of weird how things are working out. So the Miami Dolphins are back on the clock. I gave them a former member of the Crimson Tide to play with another former member of the Crimson Tide, do I do it again?
That's right. Mac Jones right here.
How great would that be? Do against his old backup. Oh, man, this is tough. This is a tough one. I'm still debating on it. Do I go edge or do I go another position? No, I'm going to do it. Nick, I'm taking a running back in the first round. No excuses for Tua. He has the familiarity. This may be a curveball, but the Dolphins need a running back. They need it desperately. Adam Gase is no longer there to turn these running backs around. Give me Najee Harris out of Alabama. A little bit of a curveball. I know you're not going to like the pick. I just got finished about how we think alike. I know you're not going to like this pick, but Harris is the best running back in this draft. It's not Travis Etienne. It's close. Very close. But
I can't even believe you just did that. I honestly can't even believe it.
What do you thought? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, look, best athlete for sure left in this draft at this point. Okay, I'll give you that. So many more needs, though, Jake. I mean, look, I know you're saying give this kid all the tools he can ever hope to work with, but my God, they have no pass rush. They don't even have a linebacker to speak of.
Here's the thing, though. Which pass rusher am I going to take? Am I going to take Aziz Ogilri here? Is he a top 20 talent? Am I going to take Zaven Collins? Is he a top 20 talent? The only guy who I thought about, truthfully, was Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU. I really considered him. Wow. But I think Najee Harris fills a bigger need.
All right. Listen, I have no choice but to roll with it. That's the rules of our draft. I think he's going to be great, and that doesn't matter. Do I think he's going to be Ezekiel Elliott great, like right out of college? No. Do I think he's going to even be Saquon Barkley great? No. But I think he's going to be very, very good, and you're right. He fills a great need, and now Tua's got no excuses.
Nick, what's your favorite U2 song?
What's that song? Vertigo. That one.
Vertigo. Okay. Mine is Where the Streets Have No Name. Mm-hmm. Evidently, that's Washington, D.C., because their football team doesn't have a name right now. The Washington football team. And yes, I thought of that in my bed last night.
Oh, my God.
Well, go ahead.
Well, the Washington football team, where do you begin? The only thing you can say is that maybe they don't need a quarterback, but they kind of really do.
Oh, they do.
But, look, I really do think they're going to ride with this guy a little longer. So as crazy as do I do it? You know what? We're almost at 20.
I would do it. I'll say that.
I got to do it. I got to pull the trigger. They need a quarterback bad, and I don't think they want to. Yeah, Mac Jones off the board. Look, this is another one of those guys that I'm not in love with. I hate quarterbacks out of Alabama, not because they don't look good, but of course they look good. They're constantly surrounded by superstar talent. So he scares me, but, I guess I'm going to do the regular broadcaster thing and go, oh, he has all the physical gifts, and look at the arm, and yada, yada, yada. But it's all true. So Mac Jones, another Crimson Tide member, off the board at 19.
Nick Saban's going to like that, let me tell you. Here's the thing about Mac Jones. You hit on it. You got the sense in watching Tua that he was elevating the players that he was playing with at Alabama. With Jones, you got the sense, or at least I did, let me get your take on it, that they were elevating him. Mac Jones, I think, at best, is a game manager in the NFL. A lot of people are high on him. They think he can go 3. I'll say that again. I don't even have a first-round grade on him. I think Kyle Trask is better than Mac Jones. What are your thoughts on that? Let me hear.
I think, look, there's just some players, especially in the quarterback position in the NFL, that you are just drafting this guy to get you through this rebuild, because this rebuild is going to take 3, maybe 4 years before they're relevant again. And Matt Jones,
we're talking about a rebuild. They just won their division.
That's how bad. It just shows you how bad the NFC East is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 7-9 wins the division.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, and it happened last year, but it doesn't mean that they're in a good place. There are so many needs they need to address throughout this draft. They're lucky at how deep a draft this is, but I think this is just going to be a guy that plays 3 or 4 years. There's some name power there for at least the first 2 to excite football fans over there. But I do not – you're right. I don't think he's going to be an all-time – I don't even think he's going to be great. I think he's going to wind up being – Mark Sanchez level game manager, hopefully without the butt fumbles. But I think that's what we're looking at here. Or here's the top place he could end up in his career, in my opinion. His ceiling is Alex Smith.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I was gonna say maybe Andy Dalton, but I like Alex Smith.
I think Andy Dalton's too good. He's so much better than him.
Or at least he was. The Chicago Bears, I mean, they're rolling with him for some weird reason. And they happen to be on the clock right now. They're the last team that really, really needs a quarterback. And you know what? Oh, God. I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, I'm going to do it. 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. As God is my witness, I had this guy ahead of Mac Jones. This guy is the prototypical pocket passer, okay? He may be the best pocket passer in this draft. I understand that the NFL is moving away from that a little bit, but you know what? That means nothing to me. Matt Nagy can make this guy work. I like Nagy. I think he's gotten a really bad rap because Ryan Pace has done such a terrible job. This guy's insanely accurate, great frame, has the intangibles. I'm going with Kyle Trask out of Florida. This is going to be considered a reach by a lot of people. So is Mitchell Trubisky. I get that. That didn't end well. But Trask is going to be a lot better than Trubisky. What are your thoughts on that? Let me hear.
You need what you need, and they need a quarterback. I don't know what else to say than that. It really comes down to that simple. You could have gone ahead and tried this experiment again and gone and protected him and gotten Tevin Jenkins, guy at OK State, who I love. But no, listen, you need what you need, and the Bears, they're looking to go forward, not backward. They need a quarterback, and you got it for them. So let's see what happens.
I almost went Jenkins or Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I will say that. So
I think that would either or. I think you're good here.
We move on now to the Indianapolis Colts. They made their big trade for a quarterback, reuniting Frank Reich with Carson Wentz. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. I think it could work out. I really do. I'm not giving up on Wentz, but I'm certainly skeptical. There's no question about that. Maybe Kellen Mond is the pick here. Nick, where are the Colts going?
Interesting, because as the line has gotten better, but it's not complete. So there's so many good tackles to choose from here. They definitely need to be able to cover better. So cornerback's a huge issue. And there's a flock of those secondary kind of wide receivers, that second crew that we haven't addressed yet. This is a weird one. But you know what? I think the right thing to do here is just shore up what's already working. And, yeah, I don't think I can walk away from this guy. Yeah, he's the best guy on the board at that position for sure. I'm going Darrisaw right here. I'm going to finish this offensive line, and the Colts, whoever has to be the quarterback at any given time, they don't have because I don't completely believe in this trade. I don't know if they've doomed themselves already, But I think, no, they need to make sure they protect the quarterback and finish this offensive line. No excuses. Christian Darrisaw off the board.
Darrisaw does have some injury concerns, which I'm not crazy about. He's not and he's not the smartest offensive lineman in the world, but if you look at just pure physical God-given gifts, Christian Darrisaw leaps off the board. I like this pick. I like it a lot. This is the pick I would have made.
Ooh, all right. I have the Jacobs Valk stamp of approval on that one.
So this is where we're going to sort of diverge a little bit. This is where I would make the pick for the Tennessee Titans, but I want to make the New York Jets pick. So Nick is going to go back on the clock. He will make the pick for the Titans. I'm going to make the pick for the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nick will go to the Jaguars. I'll go to the Browns, et cetera, et cetera. What's John Robinson doing?
Oh boy, this is a tough one, man, because there is. I think there would be a mode of thinking that, you know what, let's just start really addressing the secondary concerns, or you know what, let's get a real big-time ball catcher out on the field. But I think there's a bigger concern here. And again, I hate to harp on it. I keep saying it. You need to keep your quarterback upright. I think offensive tackles are at premium, but there's a lot of good ones right here to be picked up in the first round. And a lot of them are dropping to the 20s already. And there's some serious guys still on the board.
Can I tell you why? It's because they're not sexy picks. Their fans won't like it. That's why.
Yeah. But this guy fills every board. I love this kid. I don't care if the competition he faced wasn't as great as some of the other guys, but Kelvin Jenkins out of OK State is going to be an absolute mauler for Tennessee for years to come if he drops this far. He is definitely the best guy left on the board at that position, and I can't walk away from this pick. So Kelvin Jenkins off at 22.
There are some people saying that the Jets could take Jenkins at 23. And look, I think it would work. It wouldn't be the pick I would make, but I like Jenkins too. I think Jenkins is going to have a long career. Jack of all trades, master of all. I think he has a higher ceiling than most. I actually think we're in the same ballpark on Jenkins. You may be a touch higher on him than I am, but I like Jenkins too. I like him a lot. I think this is a really, really good pick.
I just needed to ruin it for you. I don't know if you were going to go with him for the
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. All right.
Their biggest need, now that they took Zach Wilson, is at cornerback. Okay? To anyone saying that the Jets need offensive linemen more than anything, it's just wrong. Okay? You take a look at the offensive line of the Jets. Okay? Mekhi Becton, Alex Lewis, Connor McGovern, Greg Van Roten, and George Fant. Not great. Definitely not great. Not, DeBrickashaw, Faneca, Mangold, Moore, and Woody. But it wasn't awful. Sam Darnold made them look worse than they actually were. They have a glaring hole at corner. Okay? Did you watch them game after game after game get torched constantly? Did you watch Lamar Jackson get torched by Henry Ruggs? I mean, come on. Les Austin? No, he's not a starting cornerback. Okay, Javelin Guidry isn't either in a perfect world. He's a solid depth corner. He's not a starter. Same thing with Bryce Hall. Maybe he could turn into one, but he's not there yet. The best cornerback on the board is an incredibly smart guy, played at great competition at Northwestern. Again, not the biggest school in the world, but Pat Fitzgerald has done a good job with that program. Greg Newsome II is the pick. Fantastic frame, great cover skills. Like I said, incredibly smart. He is also a good tackler, so Robert Saleh can get exotic with some corner blitzes. I understand that he didn't put up the stats that you'd love. This is more of a potential pick than anything else, but I think Newsome can start right away and hold his own. What are your thoughts on that? And just for whatever it's worth, he immediately becomes the best cornerback that the Jets have. So, yeah, he has to start week 1.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that we are always trying to ruin each other's picks, the pick before a guy we would take. And unfortunately, you're the first one to do it in this draft. Boy, oh boy, I was so high on him, and now I think the value drops at this position. So I have to reevaluate what I'm about to do. But, yeah, this is a perfect pick for the Jets, a very Jets pick. And it's one that I think the Jets fan base, I think the Jets fan base is going to love it. I think this is going to be one of the few times people stand and cheer, well, if they're even allowed in the building.
I think they are having fans in Cleveland.
But I don't think they'll get booed for this pick. I think this is a perfect pick. It's a solid pick for the Jets, and it solidifies their future at that position for years to come. I really do like the pick here.
So I'll give you a little bit more time to think about what you're going to do next, because I'm back on the clock with the Pittsburgh Steelers. For a team that made the playoffs, they have a ton of holes, the biggest one being running back. They just saw James Conner sign with the Cardinals, I think. They really need a running back. It's just that simple. I'm going to go with another running back. This may be a little more palatable pick to you. I'm going to go with Travis Etienne, jack of all trades, master of all. Benefited a lot by playing with Trevor Lawrence. Everyone was gearing up for the pass, so Etienne had a lot of running room. But I just think Etienne has a lot of the tools you look for in an NFL running back. Really fast, ran a 4.4 40. Really good vision, really good power, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Etienne's the guy. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I like it, and thankfully you didn't ruin my next pick here. So, no, I again, like you said, jack of all trades, and he's a master of all of them. And I think, again, fills a position of need, but also I think at this point, only physically, I think he was the best guy left on the board. So, yeah, this makes perfect sense to me. I really think it's a good pick here.
So we move on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars, back on the clock. They got this trade from the Rams in the Jalen Ramsey trade. What are the Jaguars doing at 25 now that they have Trevor Lawrence?
Look, two things have happened here. Number one, the value for receivers has dropped significantly, and so has the value for tackles. But I think when you bring in your franchise quarterback, the guy who's going to be here for 10, 12 years, what you got to do one of two things, preferably all three things. When you get him someone to protect him, and you get him someone to play with. Oh, but I'm trying to find the value here. And you know what I keep coming back to? I keep coming back to Mac Jones. Why was he so good? Why was he so great at Michigan? Because he was on his feet all the time. I think the best thing for me to do here, best thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars is to protect Lawrence for years to come and go out and get him Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. I know I'm picking a lot of tackles, but the value's there at this point in the draft. At 25, he's a shoo-in, and he'll be a guy. Look, he's not going to wow people like we think Darisaw is going to, and we definitely know Slater and Sewell are going to. But he's going to be.
Don't take my word for it.
Think like an Eric Fisher in his prime kind of deal. Not making headlines, not as sexy as his value before the draft, but he was there for a long time. He was good. You never really heard his name for any bad reasons. I think Mayfield fits here.
I like that he has experience at both tackle positions.
He does.
I think his ceiling is kind of low. I think his floor is maybe a touch low, but Mayfield does have what it takes to succeed. Really good run blocker, tough guy. I know he loves football. He initially opted out, then he came back. Believe it or not, I actually kind of like that. It means that he loved the game so much that he changed his mind. I really, really like that. I like this pick. Jalen Mayfield is going to be a good player in the NFL. Not as good as Baker Mayfield, but still, Jalen Mayfield's going to be good. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. These segues are pretty good, let me tell you. I like how I'm doing. I'd love to give them a linebacker, and that's what I'm going to do here. The fans in Cleveland may be a little confused about this pick because this guy's got no buzz whatsoever. It's weird. Very weird that this guy's flown under the radar, but I think he has what it takes to be a good player in the NFL. At a basketball school in Kentucky, Jamin Davis is the guy. 1-year wonder. I understand that. He's a really good tackler. Can play 3 downs. Very smart guy. Really good frame. 6'3.5", 234 pounds. I like Jamin Davis a lot. I feel like I'm higher on him than most.
I think you probably are, and I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I think, look, the value's there here at the pick, and they definitely need a linebacker. You're right. People are going to be confused. It doesn't seem right now like the biggest need on the team. But you know what? When you shore up a linebacking crew and really have them just dialed in, it helps the defense so much. So I really like your pick here. I think he makes all the sense in the world to take him here.
A team that would really appreciate a linebacker like Jamin Davis is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not saying that Davis is going to turn into Ray Lewis or anything, but the Ravens know something about linebackers. What are they doing at 27?
Well, look, there's this we have this thing between Baltimore and Kansas City now. Who's got the better quarterback? Who's going to win more Super Bowls? Blah, blah. Look, I know it's Mahomes. I just love I have a friend who I like to tease about that all the time. He's like, well, he's not a highlight reel like Lamar Jackson is. I'm like, okay, but we win Super Bowls. So
I was going to say, can Jackson win a big game, please? Although he did get J.K. Dobbins right last year. I do remember that.
Okay. Well, thank goodness, right? Oh, boy, a lot of needs. And this one might confuse fans, too. It is a very, very big need for them. I could go receiver here, but Lamar Jackson is an offense unto himself, and they really kind of have addressed it. I'm not saying Watkins is going to be, a killer over there, but it addressed a position of need, and I think he's going to do well there in a new system with a fresh start. So I'm not going receiver. As badly as they need an edge rusher, I think there's better value with someone else just sitting there waiting to be taken. And quite frankly, I'm surprised he's fallen this far. Yeah, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to go for a safety out of TSU. I'm going Trayvon Moehrig.
TCU.
I said TCU.
I thought you said TSU.
No, TCU.
State University.
We'll hear it on the playback. TCU, excuse me.
The Horned Frogs. Yeah, look, Trayvon Moehrig is by far and away the best safety in this draft. It's really not even close. I feel like he played a college-like system at TCU, very cover 4 heavy, which he's not going to do in the NFL. The Ravens will not do that. But I do think Moehrig has the physical gift. He was the best player on the board. The Ravens always do that. They always take the guy where you somehow shake your head and say, how is this guy still available? Moehrig fits what they do to a T. So we move on now to the New Orleans Saints, a new era of Saints football. Drew Brees is gone. Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston are still there. The old saying, when you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Sean Payton would tend to disagree with that. And I'm going to give those two quarterbacks a weapon. Now that Moehrig is off the board, the best player available is a wide receiver out of Florida, Kadarius Toney. Has the potential to be one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. I get that he isn't a durable prospect, but he has elite separation skills. He dominated the week of the Senior Bowl against top-tier talent. That did impress me. Played well in the SEC. Really good frame for a slot receiver. 5'11", shade under 200 pounds. Kadarius Toney is going to be a really good player in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, another pick ruiner. Look, just because I really, really want to get Aaron Rodgers someone to throw to, because they need another one over there. But no, this
is a deep wide receiver draft.
Yeah, there's definitely some other choices. I think it drops off a little here, so I'm going a different direction. But I think this kid is going to be really, really, really good, and he's landing in the lap. Yeah, we keep talking about this. He's landing in the lap of a team that he's perfect for, that's just about to start their new future, and now they get a legit ball catcher right here to help push him forward. I love it. I love the pick. It makes perfect sense.
There's nothing better as a GM, a head coach, a fan, whatever, of a team when the best player available fills your biggest position of need. And that's what just happened here with Toney going to the Saints. So we move on now to the Green Bay Packers. Who wanted to kick that field goal, in the immortal words of Scott Schoenfeld from Jeopardy? Did you see that clip from Jeopardy?
Yes, I did. And let me just say, he's great.
That's a great question. Should be correct, but
oh, man.
You can see the wheels turning in Rodgers' head. It's like, what can I say to not get in trouble? What can I say to not get in trouble? What are the Packers doing at 29?
Well, if they're not getting a receiver, here's another thing that they need to help Aaron Rodgers, and that he's been so frustrated with for years, and that's his defense. He never has an elite defense. He never has a defense that he can trust. How many leads have we seen him lose and have to go back out there and get? How many times?
At the end of the day, if the Buccaneers don't convert that first down, Rodgers gets the ball back. That was a terrible play by Kenny King. He got burned that whole game.
I know. I mean, man, it's so. But that's the question, though. What part of the defense are you going to fix first? For me, I think the most blaring need is at corner. I want to go linebacker because I think the value's better here, but they have an out. Oh, my God. Do they need a corner worse than anything else in life right now? They need a good cover guy, a guy who they can trust. I think it's a little early, but I am taking Asante Samuel Jr. finally off the board at Florida State.
Yeah, this may be a touch high for him. I do not have a first-round grade on him. I have an early second-round grade on him. But obviously, I love the bloodlines. I love watching his father play. Elite cover skills. Really, really, really smart. Great ball skills. Not the greatest frame in the world. 5'10", 80 pounds. Like I said about who was it? J.C. Horn, I think it was. No, not J.C. Horn. I'm sorry. Someone else in this draft I said that I was actually just as tall as. But look, I like Samuel. I do like him, love the bloodlines, and he will make Packers fans forget about the terrible job that Kevin Kane did.
And I really do think that has an effect. I think it's fresh in Packers fans' minds. They're going to see their team selecting a corner and making that change right away. So I think it'll be appreciated.
And look, at the end of the day, if Aaron Rodgers just wins one Super Bowl, that may be the most disappointing career in NFL history. This guy deserves 3 or 4 Super Bowls.
Yep, no doubt.
So we move on now to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen proving that he's the real deal, proving Nick right. The Jets could have taken Allen at 6 and everything would have been fine. I'm not saying Allen would have turned out exactly the way he did, but would have been a lot better than Darnold. I'll say that. I am stunned that these two guys have fallen almost all the way out of the first round. I'm happy about it because it means that the Jets could possibly move up to get them, but we're not doing trades here. The Bills will be doing backflips. If they could get the best edge rusher in this draft at 30, some people will say that's Zaven Collins. I disagree with that. To me, the best edge rusher in this draft is Aziz Ogilri out of Georgia, jumped off the tape, can play all 3 downs, very durable, perfect frame, 6'2", 250 pounds. I love Ogilri. What are your thoughts on him?
Look, this is a a no-brainer for me. You're right. This is the best edge rusher in this draft. The fact he's fallen so far, maybe that's shame on us. But I will say that I think
it's going to have someone.
Yeah.
Players always fall.
Yeah. I love this pick. This kid is going to absolutely dominate the edge for years and years to come. He's going to be a nightmare to deal with. I love Ogilri here.
All right, Nick. It's time. The moment you've been waiting for. The Kansas City Chiefs. What are they doing?
Look, all you can do right now is one of 2 things. You can either make them more lethal than they already are, or you can adjust and fix a huge need. And they have huge needs. Look, it's no secret. I've been picking a lot of tackles, and I'm tempted to do so again because the biggest need for the Chiefs, now that they've lost Schwartz, now that we've lost Fisher, and since we already lost them in the playoffs, you saw the problem in that playoffs in the Super Bowl. Besides the refs, they couldn't keep Patrick Mahomes comfortable at all. And I know he's better on the run. He's better when he's creating. But at some point, he just looked like a guy getting chased down by the cops. I mean, he was that bad.
In all fairness, as much as I hate Todd Bowles, he designed a perfect game plan for that Super Bowl. There was beauty in its simplicity.
Yeah, well, for sure. Absolutely. Here's the thing. I got 2 things I can do. I can either go out and I can take Terrace Marshall Jr. and make that receiving core absolutely lethal.
Oh, God.
Or I can go and play it safe and get either Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame, not a sexy pick at all, and I don't know how I feel about him, or I could do what I think I'm about to do. All right?
I'm scared.
I think there's been talks about this guy transitioning, and I hate hearing that word, transitioning positions if he's selected by the right team. I think I'm going to take Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama and transition him into a tackle after he's already picked. He is the best lineman left. He is absolutely vicious. Think about how you thought about Willie Hernandez when the Giants picked him. Just a ferocious, angry player who's going to be absolutely violent off the line. I think if you take him and put him on, transition him to a tackle, you have a very good chance on shoring up this offensive line this year.
Alex Leatherwood does have what it takes to succeed in the NFL. The thing is, though, and you hit on it, he's a man without a position. Are you going to play him at tackle? Are you going to play him at guard? I will say this, though. I like the fact that Joe Thuney is there to kind of mentor him a little bit and read Bieniemy, Mahomes. It's a good landing spot for Leatherwood. So we close out the first round with the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unbelievable. Tom Brady, more Super Bowl wins than any team in NFL history. It's not an argument anymore. It's not a discussion. It's not a debate. It's fact. Tom Brady is the greatest player, bar none, in NFL history. That's coming from a Jets fan. The Buccaneers could really use another offensive lineman. I'm going to take a guy who you were considering. I do like him. I'm going to go with Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. I did have an early second-round grade on him, not late first, but this is the 32nd overall pick. You can take an early second-rounder, and no one will bat an eye at it. Incredibly smart, prototypical left tackle, not crazy about his frame. He needs to add some muscle, but he's 6'6". I really like Eichenberg. I think I'm higher on him than you.
I think you are, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Look, you know me. I don't like linemen or linebackers that come out of Notre Dame. Quite frankly, I think they're overrated often, and a lot of them are soft. I feel that it's the same way I feel about USC quarterbacks. I just don't like it. But having said that, this kid has all the tools. He's got the size. And you're right. They need to keep Brady upright if this is going to continue. So I probably would have gone edge here or even do what I said I could do with the Chiefs and go out and grab a receiver because this kid's a real talent out of LSU. Marshall Jr. is great, but I like the pick here. I think it takes care of something you needed. So I'm all about it.
The last thing on earth the Buccaneers needed was another wide receiver. Evans, Godwin, Miller. I mean, come on. They're set.
Overload, man. Overload.
Yeah. Right. So we are done with the first round. We're about to be halfway through the 2021 NFL Mock Draft Special. This is so much better than FaceTime or Zoom. This is exactly how I record interviews, and it's perfect.
Yeah, the last time it was a little choppy.
Jacksonville Jaguars, back on the clock. They're going to get another first-round talent. What are they doing?
Hey, man, first pick in the second round is the first rounder, so you treat it like a first rounder. But I get to play around a little bit. I don't have to be by the book here. I can be interesting. We fixed them. I fixed the Jaguars already. They have the quarterback of their future. I went out and got excuse me.
Can I ask you a question? Hold on. Really fast. Is it still possible, even in the most remotest sense of the word, that they can move down one spot?
Well, yeah, I think so. I do think it's possible. Why? Why do you ask?
Because I really want Trevor Lawrence, and I'm willing to mortgage the future for him.
Jake, get over it. It's not happening. Look,
I'm at the 0-16, but I would rather go 2-14 and get Wilson than go 0-16 and get Lawrence.
Well, look, wouldn't we all if we were in that position, right? Look, I've fixed them, I think. Look, they got the quarterback of their future. They got the tackle of their future. He's safe. What do? Get him someone to play with. And finally, I've said the name 3 times in this mock draft. I was thinking about getting a tight end because I really do like Pat Freiermuth, but I don't think he has the value that this kid has. I am taking the LSU kid. Terrace Marshall Jr. is off the board.
Whoa, man. Trevor Lawrence throwing at Terrace Marshall Jr. That's a college all-star team right there, let me tell you.
It really is.
I mean, I love Marshall. There were some games where Marshall outplayed Chase. Maybe not last year, but certainly the year before. He is an explosive guy. 6'2.5", shade over 200 pounds, ran a 4.4 40. Has durability concerns. I get that. And certainly Joe Burrow did make him look a lot better than he actually was. But he's landing with another great quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Really, really good pick there. So now, the New York Jets are back on the clock. There are going to be a lot of people screaming to go offense. Offense, always offense. I can hear it now. No, that is not how you build a football team. Here's the thing, okay? If you're going to devote all your resources into offense and do nothing on defense, you are expecting to win 38-35 games. I don't care who the quarterback is. It could be Mahomes. It could be Wilson. It could be Brady. It could be Lawrence. It does not matter. You cannot expect quarterbacks to win 38-35 games every Sunday. It is unrealistic. The biggest need that the Jets have, now that they drafted a quarterback and they drafted a cornerback, is at edge rusher. It is something that they have had a glaring hole at since John freaking Abraham. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the no pass rush. This guy is by far and away the best the best player available to some people. He's the best edge rusher in this draft. I disagree with that, but it'll be a home run if they could take him. It's another small school that may scare some people, but I don't care. Zaven Collins is the guy, jack of all trades, master of all. I think he's a perfect fit in a 4-3 system. I think Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich are going to have a lot of fun with him. What are your thoughts on that and my rent?
It does not surprise me. Look, I'm with you. I'm surprised he's fallen this far as well. But this happens. Guys fall, right? Look at the size of this mammoth of a man. 6'4", 260, but he's fast. He is so fast. And what's better, you could play him at outside linebacker, put him into coverage. He is so versatile. But you're right. This guy's going to come off the edge and just be a nightmare to deal with. I love Zaven Collins right here.
I will say this. Think about this front seven for a second. I'm not saying it's going to fill out exactly this way, but this is a possibility. You've got John Franklin Myers, Foley Fatukasi, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, Carl Lawson, C.J. Mosley, and Zaven Collins with Vinnie Curry as a backup. I mean, come on. That's scary.
It's actually pretty scary. You're right. I like it.
So we move on now to the Atlanta Falcons. What are they doing?
Well, look, we got Kyle Pitts. You're done, right? No, we still have some work to do. We still got some work to do here. And, look, you just took the best edge rusher out from under my feet. So, look, they have some more needs. They could use a tackle. They could use running back. I'm not doing that in the second round, though. We're here looking at their needs. I think we got to go either edge or corner. What's more important right now? Where am I going to get more value? And I'm just trying to review it. I think their need at cornerback is far greater than it is at edge. And I think I'm going to go with the kid from – I don't love his school, but I'm going to go with the kid from Kentucky, Kelvin Joseph. He's got a lot of physical tools. He's an interesting pick. He's got good size, though. He can leap for days, so he can be up in those jump ball situations, those 50-50 balls. He's fast. He can keep up. I think I like him here. Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky.
You know what? In all seriousness, with his vertical leap, his athleticism, John Calipari would like him.
Probably would. I mean, small, but put him in point guard.
Hey, I mean, look, Kentucky was garbage last year. They could have used a guy like Joseph. Great cover skills, really smart, good tackler, plays the ball really well. Maybe this is a little bit of a reach, but the biggest need that the Falcons had was corner. I toyed with taking Patrick Surtain at 4. Kyle Pitts and Kelvin Joseph. You can't do much better than that. That is a really, really good 1-2 punch. So we move on now to the Miami Dolphins. They got this pick from the Texans in the Laramie Tunsil trade. Hard to believe that they are still paying that off, but they are way to go, Bill O'Brien. The Dolphins really need to bolster their O-line. I would love to give them a guard, but there's no guard worth taking in the early portion of the second round. So I'm going to reach just a little bit. And if this happens, I feel like NFL fans will lose their minds. This is the third Crimson Tide guy I'm taking. Nick, I did not plan this. I did not plan this at all. It's just a crazy, crazy coincidence. Teams reach for centers. They just do. And this isn't even that egregious of a reach. The Cowboys reached for Travis Frederick. That worked. Landon Dickerson has to be the guy here. His only issue is his durability. Other than that, you know, the Dolphins prove that they don't care about it by taking Tua. Dickerson does everything you want a center to do. He's a senior. He's a really smart guy, crazy successful. Landon Dickerson's the guy here. I think it's a home run pick.
I don't think you're wrong, man. I think you nailed it here. You're right. Look, it's a bit of a reach, but kind of isn't everything right now. I mean, we're in the second round. We're going to be reaching up and down for guys we couldn't believe fell that far, guys who we really want, and they're only a few picks away, you know. So I don't hate this pick at all. I think you're kind of hitting it. I like them fixing their center problem because they have a legitimate issue at center. So this is a good pick.
So now we go to the Philadelphia Eagles. What is going to be the latest addition to the city of brotherly love?
Well, look, man, this is a weird – I hate picking for teams that, A, I really don't like, but also I hate picking for teams that I really wouldn't know. And I'm being honest here. I wouldn't know where to start in fixing this team.
Harry Roseman.
What did we get him? We got him Waddle so far?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. What else? What else do they need? Everything? Yeah. The Eagles need everything. They need all the help in the world. I could go corner or safety here, but honestly, I here, you know what? This might be I'm not going to get the tight end. Not here. You got me spinning here, Jake. You definitely got me spinning here.
Can I tell you who I would probably take?
Who's that?
Elijah Moulden.
Elijah Moulden. That's okay. I can see where you're going with that kind of pick, but I don't.
See, now that I mentioned him, you're not going to take him.
Yeah, I'm not going to take him. Look, they need a cornerback badly, but you know what? Let's just slap parts on the offense and see if it sticks. I like this kid a lot. Obviously, I'm a PSU fan. I'm doing it. I'm taking Pat Freiermuth here.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, look, I understand giving Hurts all the help he can get, but you do know that they still have Dallas Goedert, right?
I'm well aware of that. And now we've seen, and by the way, he doesn't make me, I was about to say, he doesn't excite me that much anyway. And there's plenty of teams that have found success running two tight end offenses. So no, I'm happy with this pick. I think it makes sense.
Okay, all right. I mean, look, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, now Dallas Goedert and Pat Freiermuth. That's certainly a young and exciting tight end duo. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals are back on the clock. I gave them Jamar Chase earlier, and I'm debating if I want to give Joe Burrow some more help on the O-line. Do I do it or do I not do it? No, I'm not going to go that route. The value isn't there. Truthfully, I probably would have taken Freiermuth if you didn't take him. You're the pick stealer. It's not me. You're the pick stealer. Look, this is probably where you go defense. Like I said, you can't expect teams to win 38, 35 games every single Sunday. I'm going to fix their glaring hole at inside linebacker. I'm going to go with Nick Bolton. He needs to grow like 5 inches, and obviously that's not going to happen. But you know what? He's crazy smart, can gang tackle. You can play him on all 3 downs. Bolton is a little bit of a project, but I do think the potential is there for him to be a really good player in the NFL.
I think so too. He's going to be, look, the talent, he's like you said, all the talent in the world, but the size is a question. And the size will be an issue. It'll be an adjustment. There's no way around that. He's going to have to adjust to the speed and strength of the NFL, but he's going to have to do it with his head. He's going to have to be smarter and work harder than everybody, but I think he's going to be able to make it. I like the pick here. I have absolutely no qualms about your pick.
Carolina Panthers back on the clock at 39th overall. What are they doing?
Oh, boy. Well, look, we fixed their biggest need. The offensive line is fixed. Or at least their tackle situation is fixed. Let's go there. I'm not going to go that far. But they still need a cornerback.
Wait, didn't you take a corner? No, I took a corner.
You took a corner.
Yeah, I took Surtain.
Not for the Panthers, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How did I miss that? I don't know how I screwed that up. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at what I was going to have the Panthers take Slater in my first go-around, so I just looked at that.
And it's something funny. The Browns once did something like that. They called Cameron Jordan and said, "Welcome to the Browns." They meant to call Jordan Cameron, the tight end. That actually happened. A true story.
My goodness. Well, look, I'm actually happy about that then. You fixed the cornerback problem. I'm going to fix the tackle problem. This is going to be a guy that they got to work on a little bit. He's not – look, he's obviously got the build. I've heard not necessarily issues about this, but he's definitely – I've heard people say he doesn't work hard on every play. He just lets his size do the work. He needs a motor, a little bit more of a motor, maybe a kick in his tuchus. But I'm going Samuel Cosmi right here. I love that he's here. I know he's going to fall in the draft, but I think the value's there to take him in the second round. Look, the size is there. I think he just needs to get a little kick in his, like I said, in his tuchus.
Cosmi did jump off the tape at Texas. He did look like a man among boys, and for God's sake, he's 6'6", over 310 pounds. And he's very, very smart. He does have experience playing both tackle positions. Maybe this is a little bit of a reach. You're probably higher on him than me. I think he's a lot of work in pass protection. But
for sure.
I think Cosmi does have what it takes to succeed. And look, if Sam Darnold's going to succeed, you got to keep him upright. The Jets learned that lesson the hard way. We move on now to the Denver Broncos, and I would love to give them a quarterback, but Kellen Mond is not a second-round prospect. In fact, I'm not even sure if he's a third-round prospect. Oh, no, I take that back. He is a third-round prospect. He's just a mid-third-round prospect. I'd love to give them an offensive lineman. Like I said, keep these guys upright, but the value just is not there. Cosmi maybe would have been the guy, maybe. But again, Nick being the pick stealer messes me up. Okay. This is where Elijah Moulden goes. I really like Moulden. Hit on him a little earlier. Yes, he's undersized, 5'9", under 200 pounds, built like a stick. I get that. But when you project him to how he's going to play in the NFL, he's crazy smart, great cover skills, great ball skills, good tackler. I think he can be a really good slot corner in the NFL. What are your thoughts on Moulden?
Listen, I think we're just going to continue stealing each other's picks because that was probably where I was going next too. Look, no, it's going to be work in progress, but the ceiling for him, I think it has a limit, but I do think it's extremely high. I agree with you. I think it fills a position of need. And look, you may say you wanted. Oh, I'd love to give them. No. Don't love giving them anything. They're in my division. All right? Leave me alone.
Oh, come on. The Broncos are no competition to you. You're going to destroy.
We'll see. The AFC West keeps getting better. So we'll have to see.
The Chargers are going to be a thorn in your side for a while.
Oh, God. Joey Bosa is always a problem.
Him and Herbert. Brandon Staley, too, their new head coach.
Yep.
Sean McVay coaching tree.
Were you surprised they moved on from Anthony Lynn?
A little bit, just because I thought Herbert developed really well under him, but the Chargers lost a lot of close games, partially because of Lynn's mismanagement. You got the sense it was just time for a change, and we all love the Sean McVay coaching tree. Staley is a smart guy. I think it can work. I really do. Yeah. Detroit Lions are on the clock now at 41st overall. What are they doing?
Well, we just got them the best lineman in the draft, so that's one thing well off the board. You know what I think they really need at this point? And look, the talent pool is dwindling, as it does. What they really need, you need to just go out there and get a pass catcher, someone who's been on the who's getting picked right now exactly where they ought to get picked. Perfect value at the perfect place, going to a place that needs his services. I like him a lot. I think he's a little smaller than I'd like, but I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota right here.
Ooh, okay. I like Bateman. I really like watching him play. Very, very exciting player. Great route. Yes, I'm telling you, Broncos fans are going to really like watching him play. Lions fans are going to like watching him play.
I was about to say, what?
And we're all allowed one. Look, Bateman fits what the Lions need perfectly. They lost Kenny Golladay. They need that explosiveness. Rashad Bateman gives it to them. Crazy production, great ball skills, plays with a fire under his keister. Rashad Bateman is a really, really good pick. So now we move on to the New York Giants. Speaking of Kenny Golladay, he is now a member of the G-Men. Daniel Jones, if he is going to succeed, needs to stay upright. He can't face pressure. He fumbles the ball too much. We've heard the nickname Danny Dimes. He's not Danny Dimes. He's Danny Fumble. Okay, it's just simple. Unfortunately, I don't think there's an offensive lineman that I would take here if I was the Giants. I think they have a glaring need at linebacker. I know that you took Kwity Paye to be an edge rusher, but they do need a middle linebacker. Alec Ogletree did not work out. The guy couldn't work out with the Jets, okay? If you can't make it with the Jets, you're not going to be long for this league. Jabril Cox is the guy, jack of all trades, master of none, except his tackling. He's a terrible tackler. And I understand he can tackle if you're going to succeed in the NFL as a linebacker. But in terms of pass coverage, Jabril Cox may be one of the best linebackers in this draft.
Ooh. All right.
He's up there. Let me tell you, he's up there.
I really like this pick because I'm going to tell you something right now. I didn't even know he was available. I honestly thought we picked him already. Yeah.
I wonder if what happened in the war room.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this guy still available? Are we sure that he wasn't taken already?
Yeah, right? I can't imagine how often that does happen. Yeah, that is unbelievable. No, that's a great pick here. I have no notes. Holy moly, I can't believe you sneaked that out. Oh, you snuck it on me again.
These San Francisco 49ers are back on the clock. They just took Justin Fields. What are they doing at 43?
All right, buddy. This is where you're going to scream at me. I think you are.
Hold on. Let me drink some water so I'm ready.
Okay. Because you're going to say I'm giving up on a bunch of other guys to take this guy. But you know what? I have a reason. So drink your water. Take a deep breath. I know I'm a homer, okay? We've all established that. I know I'm a homer. But for me, what the 49ers need now, it's not their need that's going to bother you. It's who I'm taking. But the 49ers need now that they have their quarterback of the future is an edge rusher. They need to get back in the business of getting in the backfield, period. They need that because that's what defense is about in this iteration of the NFL. And I hate picking guys who are amazing on draft day, but this guy was beyond amazing. And I know what you're going to say. He didn't have a sack at all last year. I get it.
No, I know who you're going to pick. I don't mind it.
All right, Jason Away out of Penn State. I'm doing it. Jason Away is he's away. He's off the board. He is a freak of nature. I cannot wait to watch this guy play.
Yeah, no, you scared me a little bit, but no, this fits Away's range perfectly to me. Jack of all trades, master of none. I love his frame. His frame is what jumps out to me. 6'5", 260 pounds. I mean, come on, that's perfect. You're right that the production isn't there. You're 100% right. College stats mean nothing, though. Okay, well, I shouldn't say that they mean nothing, but you got to take them with a grain of salt. That Penn State defense didn't have a lot to work with outside of their linebackers, Parsons and Away. So offenses were able to key in on them. I like this pick. You scared me, but no, this gets the Jacob stamp of approval.
I appreciate that. I thought you were going to give me some, giving up on over Rousseau, over Perkins. I thought you were going to give me some guff, but I appreciate you not doing that.
Yeah, look, I do not think that Away is the best defensive end available. I think, like you said, a guy like Gregory Rousseau, Ronnie Perkins, Jalen Phillips, Joe Tryon are better than him. You can make the argument that Carlos Basham is too.
They're coming in more polished. I don't think they're necessarily better. And none of them, in my opinion, have this kid's motor. I will say one more thing. Micah Parsons isn't as good if he's not on that Penn State defense. I think he benefited from having quarterbacks rattled all the time.
Hey, Penn State linebackers, they always work out. I actually have a signed picture hanging on the door of my bedroom with a bunch of the Penn State linebackers, guys like Jack Ham, Greg Buttle, Matt Millen, Sean Lee, Andre Collins. I do not mind what you've done here at all. There's a fallacy that some fans fall into. I call it right position, wrong player. Unless it's an egregious reach, like if you took a guy like, I don't know, let me just think for a second. Teron Jackson out of Coastal Carolina. If you took him, yes, terrible pick, egregious reach. But,
you know what's funny is I actually kind of like that pick.
I knew you were going to say that, too. But you took a guy whose range is more than fair. I have no problems with Jason Oweh, and I think this is the only show where you will get this much of a discussion on Jason Oweh. You got to love it.
Indeed.
So, the Dallas Cowboys are back on the clock. Their biggest need is at tight end. Okay, Jason Witten left. Blake Jarwin has not worked. Dalton Schultz has not worked. Dak Prescott needs some help there. Some people are going to consider this a reach. I do not think that this is a reach. I think this fits his range. I'm going to go with Hunter Long out of Boston College. Plays the ball really well. 6'5", 255 pounds. Crazy durable. Maybe the production isn't where you'd love it to be, but tight ends in college, unless they're a guy like Kyle Pitts, just don't get targeted as much as they should. I think Hunter Long would be a perfect fit for the Cowboys. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm worried about his blocking ability. He's a little undersized. I'd like him to be a little stockier, but a nose for the football. This is a guy you're going to put up, just put the ball in anywhere in his area, and he's going to come down with it. He has an absolute nose for the football. He's going to be one of those circus catch guys, I feel like. Do you feel like that? I feel like that's what we're going to get from him. Like, the production week in, week out may not be exactly amazing, but I think he's going to make a lot of catches you won't believe.
He'll make the SportsCenter top 10 more than once in his career. There's no question about that. Very, very athletic.
Oh, yeah.
So we move on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got this pick from the Minnesota Vikings in the Yannick Ngakoue trade. What are the Jaguars doing?
What do you want me to do? I already fixed the Jaguars. Think about what I've done for this team. I fixed them. What are you talking about? I got them Terrence Marshall Jr. I got them their tackle of the future, right? I got them their quarterback. What do you need from me? I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jacob. Is there still work to do? I didn't realize.
Hey, no, this is the portion of the draft where I think you're going to see a lot of trades, not necessarily teams trading down, but teams trading picks for established veterans.
Yeah, and that's where it gets difficult for us when we pick these, when we do these, because we have to think about it. Like, where do they fit, like, in the overall athletes in the draft at that point? So it's kind of difficult to make that decision. Look, I could reach for a safety right now, but I don't think I want to do that. Because, look, I like Richie Grant out of UCF. I really do like him. I think this is way too high to take him, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Right now, I'm trying to think outside the box. What else, right? What else do they need? What else can they get? And you want to know what you can do right now to really arm Lawrence, what they can really, you know what? Do I reach? You know what? Forget everything I just said, Jacob. I'm doing it. I know it's high. I know it's very early for him. I am taking Richie Grant out of UCF. He had a very good. He had a very, very good year. He's the perfect size. He's one of these guys with just unbelievably good instincts. And he's, by the way, fast as all hell. He's not going to get you all the interceptions, right? But he's a playmaker. Tipped balls. I think he has like 8 or 9 picks in college. So he's there. But he's a great tackler. He gets down in the box. A little undersized for the NFL, but that speed. I love Richie Grant.
Yeah, look, here's the thing about Grant. He does nothing elite, and that's what knocked him down some people's boards. But I'm okay if you're a jack of all trades, master of none. I'd rather you be good at everything than great at some things and terrible at some things. I want well-rounded. I like overall. That's what Richie Grant is.
Especially at a position like safety.
Oh, don't I know it? Jamal Adams. You want to talk about a guy who wasn't well-rounded? Jamal Adams wasn't well-rounded. In fact, he still is.
No, I know, but But you know what? I think the pick makes sense here. As badly as I didn't want to reach down, I reached down and scooped them up. And you know who else? You're absolutely right about Master of None. There's a guy I'm going to say that none of your listeners have ever heard of, other than some of his big plays in the postseason. Daniel Sorensen. No one knew his name. Still don't. But Daniel Sorensen is this kind of guy, not nearly as fast, but this is a guy who just does everything well. This guy's going to be very, very good for them for years to come. And they've fixed all of their major needs.
I absolutely love Daniel Sorensen. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. The New England Patriots are back on the clock. I gave them Trey Lance, Nick gave them Trey Lance.
Sure did.
I'm going to give Lance some help. I am stunned that this guy has fallen this far. But that's what's going to happen in this draft that's so wide receiver heavy. There are going to be really talented wide receivers that fall. We saw it with Tyler Johnson. I'm going to go with Elijah Moore, a guy who has incredible, absolutely incredible college career. Last year he had 86 catches for 1,193 yards and 8 touchdowns. Really fast, ran a 4.35 40, great ball skills. He has big playability. I think he's going to be an excellent slot receiver in the NFL. And realize, Nick, the Patriots just lost Julian Edelman.
I think this makes perfect sense. This is a team with a quarterback coming in who just lost his best lineman. That's right. Who is now walking into a situation with absolutely no help, no receivers. Look, this is going to be Bill Belichick's swan song with this kid if it works out, but Elijah Moore is going to help him get there. And they need a big-time threat. He fills the bill. I love everything about the kid, quite frankly, from his speed, from his size. I love this pick. And look, I know you're going to say, like, well, he's kind of undersized. I like that. Think about how many undersized receivers have we seen work out in Bill Belichick's system as a slot.
Younger.
It happens over and over and over again. Elijah Moore is a perfect pick here.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
When is Bill Belichick going to retire?
Here's what I think Bill wants. And look, I by what I know of Bill, I've met the man maybe twice in my entire life. What I think he wants is one more, not even a Super Bowl. Think he wants to build the next, maybe not generational quarterback, but one of the guys that we're talking about, like a Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. I'm trying to think of another guy. Like, think about how good. Think about how good Carson Palmer was back in the day. I mean prime Carson Palmer. He was great I think he wants to build one more quarterback and walk out and say, see, I did. That's all of this was me.
You mean that guy who lost to the Jets in back-to-back weeks, Carson Palmer?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
2009. Remember it well.
Oh, my gosh.
I agree with that. I think he wants to leave the Patriots in a good place. I think there is a handshake agreement in place for Josh McDaniels to take over. And I got to be honest with you, I think that would work. I think Belichick will still be involved with the Patriots. He'll just take a step back. I think he loves the game too much to ever go away completely, but I do think if not this year, then next year he's going to call it quits.
I think he's going to get through 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. And then he's either going to step up and be only the GM, or, because we all know, look, he's the GM of that team. End of story. Look, there's a placeholder. He's the GM. Or he'll just be a special consultant for the Patriots. One or the other.
Right. So the Los Angeles Chargers are on the clock now at 47th overall. Nick, it's your turn. What are the Chargers doing?
What the hell, Jake? Why do I have to build all the teams in my division? This is ridiculous.
I just made a pick for the Patriots. Don't even go there.
Oh, gosh. The needs with the Chargers. You know what? They're going to be good this year. As a matter of fact, we're going to be battling with them for the division. And I just fixed their whole offensive tackle. This is both. Look, there's a guy sitting on the board that it makes no sense he's fallen this far, to be perfectly honest. I don't see how I can walk away from him for any longer. They have a blaring need, my dear friend, at edge rusher. And this guy isn't just an edge rusher. He's a really good player. Coming out of the U, Jalen Phillips is finally off the board.
Thank you. My God, I was wondering how long he was going to slide. I was thinking, is he going to fall out of the top 50? I mean, he's, my goodness gracious.
Almost did.
Yeah, no, he did. We're taking him at 47, and this is a guy who's a first-round talent. Look, he has a major concussion history, and that scares the ever-loving mercy out of me. I get that. There is a chance that he just lasts a few years in the NFL. He's great for a little bit, and then he rides off into the sunset. A guy like Chris Borland did that.
Yeah.
But Phillips is the guy who you take a chance on. Great pass rusher, can play anywhere on the field. Great instinct, smart guy, plays with a fire under his keister. Jalen Phillips is a really, really good pick.
And when you think about what you're dealing with, Bosa and Phillips, we haven't seen a pass rushing duo this good since Freeney and Mathis.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. All right, Nick, I will stop your trend of taking AFC West teams. The Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. I'd love to give them an offensive lineman. I mean, I don't understand what the plan is there, but there's no offensive lineman worth taking here. I'm not going to take Dylan Radin here. That's too much of a reach. Instead, I think I'm going to go with I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with a defensive back. I would have loved Richie Grant, but he's off the board. Let's do it. Why not? Javon Holland out of Oregon. Very underrated prospect. Not a lot of people know a lot about him. Jack of all trades, master of none. Not a great cover safety. he does everything else well, Javon Holland is going to be around in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah, man, I got to tell you, I don't hate this pick at all. You're right. I don't think a lot of people are even going to know his name. This is going to be one of those instances where, like, if it was a full packed room on draft day, people are going to be like, "Who?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not even going to be mad. They're just going to be confused, and then they're going to go watch the tape, and they're going to say, "Oh, holy crap! How did we miss this guy?"
Right. Exactly. Jumped off the tape at Oregon. I'm with you there 100%.
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals back on the clock at 49th overall. What are they doing?
Well, here's the thing. You fixed the biggest issue, the cornerback issue, and you got him J.C. Horn, right? I think you picked, right? Was that your pick or my pick?
The Cardinals picked 16th overall. Yep, that was me.
Right.
And I gave them Horn. Good job by me.
That's off the table. We're happy with that. But listen, the deal with this team is going to continue to be defense until it's not. So you know what I say? I say, why stop there? Let's keep going. Let's keep building this defense as good as we can. And I think, look, I know edge rusher is what you need to be successful in the NFL. I know that. But the bottom line is, I think having a guy like the shot caller in the middle is really, really important. And to me, it's the focal point of any good defense. Every good defense has he may not be the best, but he's there. He knows all the plays. He's organizing everything. He's orchestrating everything. And I love this kid. Oh, damn it. Did you take – yes, you did. You son of a gun. Oh, no. I talked it all up, and then you blew it for me, Jake. Oh, no.
Are you going to
take? I'm not even going to say it because now I'm just too embarrassed. All right, now I got to get another position. Look, man, this is the fun part about this. This is the funnest part about this is that we wind up doing this kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, each team gets, obviously an allotted time to make their pick. That's when you say, okay, we're going to take player A first, then player B, then player C. If players A and B are off the board, who C is taking, we don't have that luxury of time. We have to think really quickly. People don't realize how hard this is.
Yeah, no, and it happens more often than it doesn't. Oh, God, I screwed myself here. You know what I'm mad about right now? I'm mad that I took Alex Leatherwood already because he would be perfect right in the middle of this offensive line. Think about how many times the Cardinal offensive line got crushed from within. And they always said, how do you stop Tom Brady when he was in New England? Get pressure up the middle. That's how you beat
more the quarterback tape than pressure up the middle.
Yep. And unfortunately, they're dealing with the same issue in Arizona. So for me personally, now that Landon Dickerson is off the board, I think the next best guy in the middle, and I know this is definitely a little too early, but I like where he played. I like the competition that he's had over his career. I'm going to go with Creed Humphrey right here out of Oklahoma. Now,
not bad.
It's not a great pick. It's not a sexy pick. But he's got great size. He's another one of these guys who's just like insanely smart, is able to see what defenses are doing, orchestrates his offensive line extremely well. Creed Humphrey is going to be one of those guys like you don't hear. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's going to be on that team for like 12 years and be like, oh, my God, he still plays? He's that good.
And just for whatever it's worth, recently, maybe today in history, or maybe the day before, I just remembered this, Pat Tillman was killed by friendly fire. Absolutely terrible situation. I remember that vividly. You just got me thinking about that with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
no, I like Creed Humphrey. I think this is a fair pick. I think this fits his range. I love his frame, 6'4", shade over 300 pounds. Maybe the best pass-blocking center in this draft. He's a bad run blocker. You know what? That doesn't bother me. Cliff Kingsbury likes to run east to west, so that doesn't bother me. I like this Humphrey pick. It makes sense.
And he's got plenty of time to get better, so I'm happy here.
Okay, Miami Dolphins back on the clock. Am I going to take another offensive player? Another Alabama player? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea if I'm going to take another Alabama player or not. It would be funny. It would be very funny if I... But, I'm almost thinking of just taking like the worst Alabama player and just saying, why not? Let's just go with it. And maybe bring Nick Saban back to the Dolphins. Why not?
How about that, huh?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, this is too funny. Look, we've already filled their biggest need. So I'm going to go with a guard. I am going crazy on offense. I understand that, but it's a need, man. It just is. I'm not taking another Alabama player. I'm taking a player that Alabama knows well, or rather, a player from a team that Alabama knows well. They lost to him a while ago. That's when Trevor Lawrence jumped on everyone's radar. I am going with Jackson Carman out of Clemson. I really like this kid. I have a mid to late second round grade on him. I like the fact we needed, he had a bunch of ways that he could beat you. Really good with his hands, really good footwork. I like his intelligence. I think he has a great head on his shoulders. I understand his footwork needs some work. There's no question. And, yeah, his weight has been an issue his whole life. But I think Carman has the potential to be a really good player in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, look, man, I think you're absolutely right. Look, there's plenty of people who struggle with that. When you get into the NFL, my thought is it kind of not really takes care of itself, but you're on a routine like you've never been on before, and you're getting hounded by guys like you've never been hounded before. You hear about it in baseball sometimes, guys showing up out of shape or guys showing up, like just not meeting it. You don't hear it nearly as much in football, with the exception of some of the skill positions, because they're all divas. I really, really think you're right about this kid. I think Jackson Carman fits well here. I think he makes sense. I think he's going to be a plug-and-play guy. And I think even if he doesn't shine, he's going to be good as soon as he hits the field.
No excuse for Tua. I'll say that. He has all the weapons to make it work. Got to put it together.
Unbelievable.
So now the Washington football team is back on the clock. What's Washington doing?
Yeah, Jake, I told you before I didn't even know where to start, and I meant it. Because I still don't know where to start, and we're almost done.
You gave him Mac Jones.
They got Mac Jones, and what do I always say? The first thing after you get a great quarterback you need to do is keep him on his feet, right? I always say that.
Kind of gets a while. I'm only kidding.
I got to tell you, I don't like this. I like this kid. I don't like where he came out of, and this is definitely reaching. I have him graded as an early to mid-round third rounder. But I love his size. This guy is absolutely super, super polished. I think this is a plug-and-play guy. I worry about the competition he's faced, and I worry about him translating the skills to the NFL. But I'm taking Dylan Rendunce out of North Dakota State right here.
Ooh, okay. That's an interesting pick. That's a really interesting pick. I don't hate it. I really don't. I think you're reaching a touch, which is okay at this portion of the draft if you're filling a need, which is what Washington would do if they took Radin. Very smart player, jack of all trades, master of none. He's a senior. bulked up a lot throughout his time at North Dakota State. I like that he can add muscle. Yeah, I don't mind this pick. Look, the thing with Washington is these are two unsexy picks. Like when you see Mac Jones play, you're going to realize, yeah, he's not going to do much. He's an exciting name, but that's all he is. And Radin isn't going to get the fan base really excited, but when you watch him play, yeah, okay. This guy isn't Joe Jacoby or anything, but he's good. Yeah, well, I like this pick.
What I was going to say, and I'll finish this pick, but I know we spend too much. But this is like you said, on your show, you'll find out about a guy like Dylan Radin. The only thing I don't like about what you said is that you said exactly what scares me about him. Jack of all trades, master of none, right? For offensive tackles, that scares the living crap out of me. I want you to be really good at something. So what I'm worried about is his pass protection, which is the only reason I'm picking him. He needs to he's polished. His footwork's great. He needs to not be lazy. He needs to be active, and he needs to overpower. And look, he's going to play against a lot of good edge rushers. So he needs to get his act in gear right away.
The Chicago Bears are on the clock now. I'm sure I surprised you by taking Kyle Trask at 20. I think that's a fair pick. I think that, Nick, when you said the need, it's just that simple. It's by far and away their biggest need. And I'm going to give Trask someone to throw to other than Allen Robinson. I am stunned that this guy is still available. He's undersized. I get that. He is built like a stick. I am scared that if I ever sit on him, I will crush him. And I do not like his ball skills. Let the ball come to him too much. But I think when you look at a guy like Tutu Atwell out of Louisville, you're going to do a lot of exciting things with him. I think Matt Nagy would like him. Maybe you could do some wildcat with him. I think you could do some crazy stuff with him on special teams if that's what you want. You'll see him on the highlight reel a bunch. Tutu Atwell is a very exciting player. What are your thoughts on him?
I like it. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me. You said the Wildcat. You know, he does in some ways. Oh, what was that guy's name? What's that?
How about Brad Smith, former Jet?
That is exactly who he reminds me of.
Yeah.
All right. You fixed it for me. Not the Dolphins. I was going to say, what's that kid's name? Not Pat White. What's that?
Ted Ginn.
What's that?
Ted Ginn?
Ken Ginn, yeah. I like the pick. Similar player. I think he fits extremely well. I really like his size, especially at this point in the draft. I know that's crazy to say about, look, I tower over this guy. I'm sure he's ripped, but I tower over this guy. But he's a less muscular Julian Edelman. How's that? That's what I'll give him.
Ooh, that's not bad. I don't mind that. And I like bringing up Brad Smith whenever I can because I like Smith. I had a friend. His name was Eric, not the Eric we know, Eric Bichetti. No, this guy was another Eric. He loved Brad Smith. Loved Brad Smith.
He's an exciting player. I don't blame him. He was very exciting to watch.
Yes, he was. Tennessee Titans back on the clock at 53 overall. What are they doing?
Very it's one of those points in the draft where I get a little confused because Tennessee Titans are in an interesting position. They're good, but they're not good enough yet. You know what I mean? They keep getting close, and
Ryan Tannehill, their quarterback, their ceiling is limited.
Yeah, I have no idea how I was wrong about Ryan Tannehill. And look, keep in mind how hard I was on Ryan Tannehill on Beyond the Game. I called him a bust, all this stuff. That how could they not be moving on from this guy, yada, yada. Tennessee picks him up and makes him look like the second coming of Matt Ryan. You know what I mean? That's how good he played for a season. And he gets a huge contract. Unreal. You can never predict
Adam Gase did a lot for him. I'm only kidding.
What did you just say?
I said Adam Gase did a lot for him. I'm only kidding.
Oh, okay. Thank God you're only kidding. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so, again, I really don't know where to go here. I'm thinking corner, but I'm also thinking receiver. If we get him another receiver, can he really take that next step? Or is he already kind of peaking out at the height of his abilities as they are? This is tough. I'm partial to fixing this defense. So for me, I think it's too early for. Gosh darn it. Okay. No. I think this hits it right on the money. Look, I had an early third grade on this kid, and I'm not the biggest Purdue fan, but let's get Ryan Tannehill some help. Let's go out and get Rondale Moore from Purdue. Look, that's going to be one of the ones. Look, again, an undersized kid. It's going to be one of the ones where people kind of scratch their heads at it for sure. But when you watch this kid in the open field, you'll understand. You see few guys be able to just break ankles on the field like this kid does. Is he small? Yes. Does that make him an injury risk on just colliding into the wrong guy at the wrong time? Yes. But this kid looks like freaking primetime Deion Sanders when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, no, I like Rondale Moore a lot. I liked watching him at Purdue. I love his big playability, really good separation skills. He ran a 4.3 40. I actually had a mid-second round grade on him. So, okay. You stopped his slide. I like it.
Yeah, again, I like that they're getting him. I think he helps. I'm sure they'll use him on kick returns, and they should, because their special teams has been a joke for a while. So,
yes,
but yeah, I like the pick here. Rondale Moore. I'm going with it. All right.
So, the Indianapolis Colts are back on the clock at 54 overall, and I'm going to give them an edge rusher. I can't believe this guy fell that far. To get him at 54 is an absolute steal. He's a guy who I have an early second-round grade on. I'm going to go with Joe Tryon. Jack of all trades, master of none. Did not jump off the tape at Washington. He tended to disappear into the background a lot, but he has a quick first step. I think he can play in any defense you want. You can play him anywhere, and he'll be fine. I got to go with Joe Tryon. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't hate it. I think you're hitting the nail right on the head here. You're right. He's not a flashy guy, but they don't all have to be. All right? They don't. They just don't. So I don't mind you getting a little creative here, and instead of getting a flashy guy, just getting the guy who's doing his job. And that's the thing about him. He is always doing his job.
So we move on now to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said, for a team to make the playoffs, they have a lot of holes. What are they doing?
I have no idea, to be perfectly frank with you. Look, you got them there. You fixed their running back issue. I believe that was right.
Yep, that was me.
Yeah, I think you have Etienne going there. I think.
Yeah.
So, look, the running back issue is gone. You've replaced the huge hole Le'Veon Bell left that really – I mean, look, Connor was fine. But he's not
great.
He wasn't a game-breaking guy. So the hole's really been there this whole time, and Etienne's going to fill that. What else do they need, though? You got to think a little bit more forward. And to me, the biggest need right now is cornerback. Look, I think this is the point in the draft where we can not worry so much about, is it a reach? Is it not a reach? Should I do it? Should I not do it? So I'm not going to worry about that because there's a guy sitting here. He's getting picked exactly where he should. I'm taking Tyson Campbell out of Georgia. Think about the teams this guy's had to play, and when you see the tape, it doesn't leap out at you, but you're gonna say, yeah, this guy is a pro already. So good size, right pick here. I like Tyson Campbell right now.
So do I. I think Campbell has what it takes to succeed in the NFL. I think he's a great tackler. It's possible that he will have to move over to safety at some point in his career because he does not have good ball skills. He'll never get a ton of interceptions. But Campbell has talent, crazy fast. I like this pick. You really could go best player available with the Steelers because they have so many holes.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I really do.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So, we move on now to the Seattle Seahawks, their first time making a pick in this draft. Obviously, their first rounder went to the Jets in the Jamal Adams trade. And Russell Wilson was upset with the Seahawks that he was getting hit too much. That is a valid concern. He's 100% right. He needs to stay upright. I'm going to give Russell Wilson some help on the O-line. I'm sure I'm going to butcher this guy's name, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Quinn Meinerz out of the University of Wisconsin at Whitewater. Great frame, 6'3", 320 pounds. Great run blocker. Mauler. I want him backing me up in a bar fight. That's a quality I look at in offensive linemen. It seriously is. If I'm in a dark alley and someone has a gun to my chest and asks for my wallet, who do I want behind me so I don't get mugged? I want a guy like Meinerz. Not great in pass protection, which I understand is a little counterintuitive to what I said about Wilson, but Meinerz will hold his own there. He'll be fine. I think Meinerz has what it takes to succeed with the Seahawks. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, what do I look for in every position on the line? Left tackle, finesse, good footwork, can drag a guy to the outside. Right tackle, what do I want? I want a guy that can clean down and get to the second level. What do I want in guards? I want guys who use their hands violently, get off the ball, get in someone's face, and get that first pop in a guy's chest. This guy fits the bill. I love the pick. Absolutely love it.
Speaking of teams making their first pick in the second round, we have another NFC West team, the Los Angeles Rams. What are they doing?
I still sometimes call them the St. Louis Rams, so I've started calling them the Los Angeles Rams of Los Angeles. Just you know how they got the LA Angels of Anaheim. I just call them the Los Angeles Rams of Los Angeles. Oh my God! Look, no shortage of needs here. There's going to be plenty of them, and for me personally, I guess I have to address the biggest one of them, and currently that's their need at tackle. I don't think it's a reach to go here. I mean, just given how I'm biting on my book right now because I'm trying to justify this in my head. Do I do it or do I not? No, you know what? I don't do it. You know what else they need? They need inside help for sure. I'm gonna go with I think a guy that's gotten kind of overlooked, but when you think about his team and how hard it is to play in the Big Ten, I like you're gonna kill me because I'm passing up on Jackson Carman. Oh wait, no, you already took him, so I'm not passing up on anybody. Ohio State, my friend, is where we're heading. And I'm going to go ahead and select Wyatt Davis. Very similar to Quinn Meinerz in the idea that this guy just has violent hands off the ball. First step, he's going to make a pop in someone's chest. This short of Aaron Donald, we get that. He's not going to be able to wash him down, but he's going to be a violent player for a long time, and I like this kid a lot.
For a second, I thought you were going to go with Josh Myers.
No.
That really scared me. Wyatt Davis is a jack of all trades master of some, fantastic pass blocker, didn't allow a sack in 2019. Took a little bit of a step back in 2020. That's why he slipped so much. But it wouldn't surprise me if when we look back at this offensive guard class with guys like Barrett Tucker, Leatherwood, Carmen, and Mainers, Wyatt Davis was better than all of them. Good pick.
Don't you find that happens, though? Like, great draft classes of guards and centers, they're not all taken in the first round. A lot of them are second, third, and fourth rounders.
Right. Yeah, look, I think that's starting to change now because teams are realizing how important it is to keep their quarterbacks upright. But you're right. The unsexy picks, the hogs on the O-line, you don't take them high because you don't want your fans going nuts. Now it's becoming more acceptable, but you're right. That used to not be the case.
Indeed.
So we move on now to the Baltimore Ravens. And I think I'm going to give them a wide receiver here. Do I go that route? Yeah, I do. I have this guy rated higher than most. Just had such a great career at Oklahoma State. I loved watching him play. I'm going to go with Tylan Wallace. I said, great production. Yes, durability concerns. I understand that. Great big playability. Really good ball skills. Plays with a fire under his ass. I like Tylan Wallace a lot, maybe more than most, but that's a hill I'll die on.
Well, we all die on our own hills, so don't feel that bad about this one. I like the pick. Yeah, I honestly don't have much to say about it. I feel like you're just – it's a safe pick is what it is. This is a safe, like, good, solid pick. So I have no problem with you taking him right there.
All right, good. I thought you were going to get a little upset at me there, but I'm glad.
I was close to it, but then I thought about it. No, he's right. You're right on this one. You're right.
Let's see if I think you were right about the Cleveland Browns' next pick. What are you doing?
Oh, boy. You know what I love? I love that you took – look, we are having so much fun here. I love you took Jamin Davis, right, addressing a major need for our dear Cleveland Browns who – unfortunately, we're not able to muster it up and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I think the issues have been and continue to be perpetuating on this defense. You have obviously addressed a major need. So I'm just going to help you. I'm going to help you out. How the hell did he fall this far? And I'm re-looking because I can't believe it. Yeah, how did this happen? Great, Jake. There's absolutely no other choice. Out of the U, Gregory Rousseau is still sitting on our board, and he goes to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, look, here's what I'm not crazy about with Rousseau, and I know I shouldn't blame him for this, but he opted out. He has very limited experience. He's going to take a while to develop. Can he develop with the Browns? The answer is yes. But it's a project. That's what scares me.
Okay. You got to understand what this kid – look, did he regress? Yes, he did. But this is a guy who in college got 16 sacks in a season.
No, I get it. I like Rousseau. I do. It's just he's a project.
Look, I'm happy that you're fine with the pick, but I'm glad you're being honest with me about him. But, look, I think it's going to take time. You're right. But if he ever hits his full potential, he will be off the charts good.
I agree with that. 100%. He has
and think about the help he has in Cleveland on the other side.
Oh, God. That's scary. I mean, they just signed Davion Clowney and Myles Garrett. I mean, geez Louise.
It is going to be a nightmare playing Cleveland. It's going. If you're a quarterback, you are having nightmares the day before playing Cleveland.
And you know what? I'm happy for him because that franchise and that fan base deserves it.
They do. They really do. They have been through a lot.
Now it's the Jets' turn. The New York Jets now, with the Browns and Buccaneers making the playoffs, have the longest active playoff drought in the NFL. Is that going to change? Not this year. The New Orleans Saints are back on the clock with the 60th overall pick, and I got to give them a corner. It's a guy who maybe a lot of people won't know because he comes from a basketball school, but this guy jumped off the tape when you watch Syracuse games. I'm going to go with Ifeatu Melifonwu. Sure, I butchered that name. Great frame, 6'3", shade over 200 pounds. Great ball skills, great in run support. I'm not crazy about his instincts, but that's the kind of thing that will suffer when you play at a school like Syracuse. You don't have that coach there to help you get smarter. I do like Melifonwu. I think he has what it takes to succeed in the NFL, and he fills a major need for the Saints. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. Look, where were they weakest? They were weakest in pass defense. And it's sad that they couldn't get that shored up before Drew Brees' retirement, you know?
I mean, you saw Brady torch him in the playoff game. And not necessarily torch him in terms of like total production, but just he did complete a lot of deep balls.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's look, I just think this fills an important need, and I think you're hitting the nail right on the head here. You got to take him there.
So the Buffalo Bills are back on the clock. Who's going to upstate New York?
Here's the thing. The Bills are I mean, they're Super Bowl ready. They just are. Allen's got it figured out. That defense is already pretty good. And
let me tell you, I tried like hell to try to figure out a way to get to a Bills playoff game or two. I couldn't figure it out.
Now, listen, and it would have been a fun time because from what I hear, home games at Buffalo are absolutely crazy. Yeah, you got all these upstate kids. It's almost like a college game. So here's what I'm doing.
I go through tables, which is something that, you know, watching wrestling as a little kid, I always fantasized about. How would it feel like to jump through a table?
Jay, can I make a suggestion real quick?
Sure.
Don't do it. Oh, God. All right. For my second
anymore.
Yeah. For my second to last pick, mine, I look at this very simply. Insult to injury. Insult to injury. Get more ferocious big men out there in Buffalo. Go send Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest. He is 285 pounds and an absolute beast. And not only that, when you watch him off the tape, this is a guy that flies off of his side of the line. I know there are going to be concerns about the type of competition he's had, but I love Carlos Basham here. I can't believe he made it this far.
Yeah, I have a mid-second round grade on him. I just couldn't find a good landing spot for him. He is the epitome of the term jack of all trades, master of none. I think he's going to have a long career. He won't have a flashy career. He'll last for a long time, and you'll look back on him 30 years from now and say, yeah, he was a good player. I like this pick. Bills Mafia will be very, very happy with it.
He reminds me of Justin Tuck. That's who he reminds me of.
Yeah, I can see it. I don't like NFL player comps as much as I like NBA player comps. Just more fun with the NBA.
I agree. It's easier, too.
It is easier. Green Bay Packers back on the clock at 62. Aaron Rodgers needs wide receivers. Okay, he's needed it for years. I have to take this guy. I'm stunned that the Packers bypassed wide receivers last year. It was absolutely insane. It was nothing short of criminal. This guy will help Rodgers a lot, and he instantly becomes a fantasy football darling. Anthony Schwartz Out Auburn.
Oh. All right.
I see something in there. What are your thoughts on it?
I love it. I hate you, but I love it. Because I said before, what did I say? I said I could make Kansas City's receiving core even more lethal, and this was the guy in the second round that I thought could do that. Oh, you're killing me. But obviously, this is a great pick, and it gives Aaron Rodgers finally someone to throw to. So I love the pick. It makes, you nailed it, obviously.
All right, Nick, what are the Packers? Excuse me, what are the Chiefs doing?
This one was hard for me now. It was easy, but look, for me, it's either linebacker help, which they desperately need, or it's go out and get another receiver. And the cream of the crop is gone, quite frankly. You took Tylan Wallace, but I'll tell you what, there is still some hope here for me, I think. And you could tell me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'm usually wrong. There's some hope here because there's a guy coming out of Michigan I really like. And I think I'm going to take him now, Nico Collins. Now, I think a lot of people are going to say, I don't know, he's not grading that well in the draft. You know what he is? A freak. He's got a ridiculous vertical. He's 6'4", 215, shades of Megatron, not quite as fast, not quite as flashy, but this is a jump ball guy that the Chiefs need. We don't have one. Like Travis Kelce can make all the circus catches he wants. We have the burner in Tyreek Hill. What we need is a guy, corner of the end zone, just leaping up and snatching one out of the air. Nico Collins goes here.
Collins would have gone higher if he didn't opt out last year. You're right. He has a great frame, fantastic big playability. You can lob it up to him in one-on-one coverage, and Collins will just moss people. Did you see a little bit of Randy Moss in Nico Collins? I will say that.
Sure. Not quite as fast, but who the hell is?
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think he has a shot at just being one of those guys. Think like Mike Evans. Think about that kind of production.
I can see it. Very, very possible. Playing with Patrick Mahomes, yeah, you can have that type of production.
It's the last thing they're missing, man. They need a jump ball guy. That's all. It'll be the most well-rounded receiving core if they just get their jump ball guy.
Okay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are back on the clock. I do not know how this guy has slipped this far. We've had a lot of guys slip for some weird reason, but it happens in the NFL draft. It happens all the time. I'm going to stop one-man slide. Ronnie Perkins jumped off the tape at Oklahoma, one of the best pass rushers in this draft, really smart, gives 100% on every play, not great in run defense, and he needs to add a ton of weight, but I think Perkins has what it takes to succeed in the NFL, especially if he's playing under like Todd Bowles. Nick, are you going into it right now?
Well, listen, when I picked Gregory Rousseau, the only reason it was challenging for me was because Ronnie Perkins was still on the board. The reason I went with Rousseau is because anytime it's a run scenario and he's going in pass rushing, this dude gets washed down. He's Mr. Clean. He's just getting washed over, okay? Look, he's got to adjust, and he has to become an every down guy. I worry about him being a guy that can't put his full effort in on every play. He reminds me of Von Miller in that way. But if you're going to be Von Miller, you better be getting 10 sacks a game, you know? So, yeah, I think it's a good pick. It's the obvious pick. And it's the last pick of our draft. So
no,
I'm not going to give you too much crap for it.
It's not the last pick. What are you talking about? We're going to 66. I have to make one more pick for the Jets. And you have to make one more pick for the Jaguars.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'm sorry. I got to the end of the second round. And
This is the only mock draft that's going to be top 66. What happened was, here's what happened. Just to give the listener.
Oh, yeah, let the listeners know. I remember when you said 66, and I was like, why 66? And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, you wanted to go into the second round. So I said, great, let's do a 2-round mock draft, something I've never done before. The New York Jets having the second pick in the third round is just too enticing. I had to get another bite at the apple.
All right, Jake, I'll give it to you. Fine.
Who are the Jaguars taking with the first pick in the third round?
You know what's crazy is I have managed to fix this entire team in one draft. And the funny thing is, the truth is, they have that opportunity. The Jaguars have done a brilliant job of finding a way to just get all of these picks amassed in one draft and just shoot their shot. I would not be surprised in any way if we're talking about them for legitimate playoff contention if Trevor Lawrence turns out to be one of those guys who has a hot start, right? So, yeah, it's possible. It's not out of the idea. Normally I would say no. He needs some time to develop, but he looks so game ready. It's so enticing. I'm going to do him another favor. I'm going to do Trevor Lawrence the biggest favor of his life and get him one of the most versatile running backs in this draft. I love this kid. I know it's North Carolina. I know they were kind of running a 2-back offense, but I really think he makes a ton of sense. Javonte Williams will be taken right here, first pick of the third round.
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me about Williams, that he was playing with Michael Carter. It's like, who do you take? Do you take Williams or do you take Carter? Some people say that Williams could go at the end of the first round. I don't think that's the case, but I like Williams.
But you can make the same case for Smith and Waddle. Were they so great because they were together? I don't know.
No, I get that. Look, Williams had a great year last year, rushed for over 1,100 yards, had 19 touchdowns, very durable, very competitive, not a great pass-catching back, but you know what? The Jaguars will need a running back to balance out Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. He's not going to throw it 50 times a game. Sometimes it's your running backs, Javonte Williams and James Robinson, that can work.
Definitely can work.
The New York Jets
finally
are back on the clock. We're at the end of this thing. Before I get into anything, Nick, I just want to thank you for being a part of this with me. There's no one else I would rather do this with. In addition to you being the best draft analyst I know, you are one of the kindest people I know. Without getting too far into it, I had a family issue a while back. I called you on a Saturday night. You took 2 hours out of your Saturday night to talk to me, and that meant the world to me. So I wanted to say that on air. Nick, to paraphrase the great Sam Spade of the Maltese Falcons, ably played by Humphrey Bogart, you're the friend that dreams are made of.
Come on, man. Thank you. I appreciate you saying so, but I think you just need to find better friends. I think you need more friends.
I have you. That's all I need. I call you every day.
Please don't.
Oh, man. Look, with the last pick in this draft, 66 overall, I'm going to do something I usually don't like doing. I'm going to double up at a position. The Jets need corners. It's just that simple. In fact, they probably need 3 corners. There are rumors that Richard Sherman could sign with the Jets after the draft. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. I got them an outside corner. I've got to give them a nickel corner. The best nickel corner available is Aaron Robinson out of UCF. Great in run support. Very smart guy. Really good cover skills. 5'11", 185 pounds. I got to say, it'll be interesting to see Zach Wilson playing with Aaron Robinson after watching the Boca Raton Bowl.
Well, okay. I'm a little flip-floppy on this. For me, he didn't grade well, but you're right. I got to remind myself, you are speaking about a nickel corner, not an outside corner. It's so easy for anybody to just say, oh, a cornerback guard's on the outside. No, it's more complex than that. When you have an outside guy, like you got them originally, you need a guy who can keep up with some of the fastest, biggest, most adept people in the world. You don't need that with this pick. What you need is a guy with good big playability and who knows how to cover the underneath route, and I think you nailed it with this pick. I'm right there with you. That's a great pick, actually.
All right, that's it. 56 up, 66 down. Nick, to paraphrase the great Sean Evans of Hot Ones, let the people know what you have going on in your life.
I'm finishing up my second to last semester of college. I will hopefully be back. I'm planning on moving back to New York with my my dearly beloved. So we're making plans for that as we speak. We're definitely staying another year. We're not sure about anything beyond that, but wherever the work is where I'm going. And hopefully I'll be back in radio or back in podcasting some form and talking to people, because I miss like hell doing this stuff, and I certainly miss doing it with you. And I had a lot of fun today, so thank you.
You know you're always welcome on this show.
Thank you.
Always. Until tomorrow, I am Jacob Valk saying shout out to you, Jim Steinman.